As soon as his voice faded, Fatty Chin's expression became excited as he said, "It's finally my turn." Long Fei patted his shoulder and said, "Don't run. Walk towards him step by step." Eh. Chen Tianfei was startled for a moment, then said, "I know. No matter what Long Fei says, he will do it." There was no need for him to think any further, because Long Fei was his boss, so he would definitely do everything he could to accomplish what his boss had instructed him to do. Although he didn't know why Long Fei wouldn't let him fly over, he definitely had a motive. Buzz! Fatty Chun took a step onto the small path. His body suddenly sank and swayed, almost falling to the ground. Ha ha ha! Ha ha! Even this fat pig wants to pass. Why doesn't he look like a Pan Clan disciple? Are you stupid? Have you ever seen a flying pig? And it's a pig that weighs a few hundred gene. Ha ha! Many people in the crowd burst out in laughter. Xiao Ying was in a bad mood, staring at the people. He wanted to go up and beat them up. Long Fei did not pay attention to the ridiculing around him. Instead, he stared at Chen Tianfei and thought to himself, "Go and find your path, Fatty." Fatty Chun was in a world where the whole world was laughing at him. Why would the Chen family have such a trash like you? It was you who killed your grandfather. You fat pig, you trash. How do you even have the face to live in this world? Why don't you go and die? He was in a world filled with illusions. When he was in this world, it was exactly the same as the real world. Fatty Chun had such a difficult time, but when he saw his grandfather's illusions, his tears flowed unceasingly. It was a hard journey. However, he was able to walk with ease. He roared in his heart, "I, Chen Tianfei, will definitely shock you all. I will definitely do it." Following his furious roar, the holy armor fairy vein in his body suddenly exploded. Boom! 4th level break. The power of the divine armor protected the entire body, crushing all of the surrounding illusions. His heart of martial arts also began to condense. His world also changed as powerful attacks erupted again and again. Fatty Chun stubbornly resisted the attacks as he howled, "Come, come, all of you come at me. My Tao, the Tao of defense. Path of divine armor. Bring it on." Fatty Chun exploded. With every step he took, his heart of martial arts became firmer and firmer. 10 minutes passed. Fatty Chin's body lightened up and he trembled, almost falling down. The moment he opened his eyes, he found himself at the other end of the path. He turned around and asked excitedly, "Boss, did I pass?" 10 minutes seemed like 10 centuries to him. Too long, too long. Long Fei smiled and said, "I passed." Zhang Ti and I smiled and praised him in his heart. "Good boy." That's right. The surrounding people were slightly startled as well. However, many people began to mock him. It took him 10 minutes. What a waste. Many people despised him. Other than the Pan Clan disciples, Fatty Chun was the first person to pass the examination. Furthermore, Zhang Ti and I could feel the condensation of a Tao heart from him. This was a Tao heart of a guardian. Very strong. Next, Man to All Yuo. Man to All Yuo then took a firm step up the tower. Just like Fatty Chun, her mind was filled with all kinds of fantasies, all saying that she was a monster, that she was the sinner of drug race, that she should have died a long time ago. Man to All Yuo had to endure it more than Fatty Chun. It took her 20 minutes to get there. Her face was pale, her eyes glistening with tears. The moment she walked out of the alley, her heart tightened, and she said with incomparable firmness, "I will definitely prove myself." Zhang Ti and I smiled again. The heart of poison, not bad. Next, Xiao Ying. Xiao Ying was startled. She did not think that she had the qualification to take the examination. Walking on the small path, her body exploded, releasing the powerful air of violence, fiercely shouting out, "Whoever dares to touch my young miss, I will fight with him. Young Master Long, come on, come on." At one moment, it was violence. At the next moment, her face was flushed red. It was unknown what was going on in this lowly's mind. However, he had passed without any mishaps. When Xiao Ying thought about everything that happened in the illusion, her face immediately flushed red. She did not dare to look back at Long Fei, so embarrassing me to death. Are these people stupid? There are shortcuts that I have to take step by step. My brain must be full of water. Not only is my cultivation inferior to the sky-separating clan, my IQ is also lower. The crowd did not understand. They could clearly fly over, but why not? There are no shortcuts on the way to martial arts training. The more shortcuts you take, the more you lose. Next, Long Fei. Zhang Tianya's mind became tense and thought, Long Fei, what Dao heart can you condense? That year, Long Zhanting was able to condense an invincible Dao heart. What about you? In this 1,000,000 years of time, you are the second person in the entire Long family to have reached this point. He was looking forward to it, because the people of the Long family were all too mysterious. There would always be unimaginable miracles. Zhang Tianyi was looking at Long Fei, while the Pan clan elder, who was hiding in the dark, was looking at Long Fei. Secretly, Qiu Wandao and the old man in green were also looking at Long Fei. In a secret room in Outer Space Palace, Supreme God was also looking at Long Fei. Also, seated on a branch of a large tree in the distance was a mischievous girl who was also looking at Long Fei. Countless pairs of eyes were staring at him, all wanting to know what sort of Dao heart he had condensed. Could he walk down this path? Standing at the side of the small path, Long Fei faintly exhaled and silently thought in his heart, Golden Dragon Master, all of your energy should be withdrawn. I'm going to walk over there on my own. He withdrew the Golden Dragon's power. The Yin Huang ancestor slightly said, Boy, this small path is one of the top 10 holy artifacts in God Emperor Academy. It can help warriors form their Dao heart, but the most important thing is to strengthen their Dao heart. Others might not know, but Yin Huang ancestor knew it very well. The violet bamboo path had been forged by a major power. The violet bamboo had allowed a martial artist to form their Dao heart. The disciples of the Pan clan had also missed this opportunity. Long Fei made up his mind, nodded, and said, I understand. My Dao, 3,000 great Daos, countless small Daos. What kind of Daos do I have? Long Fei himself also wanted to know. And then, Long Fei took a step forward, and in that instant, the color of the sky changed, and the sky began to crack. Blood flowed like a river, and corpses littered the fields. The place he was in wasn't some taunting illusion, but rather an incomparably large battlefield, a battlefield filled with corpses. Boom! With a boom, the million-strong army on the distant mountain slope rushed towards Xiang Longfei, looking extremely ferocious and terrifying. Long Fei was so frightened that his body slightly trembled. Lifting his right leg slightly, he wanted to retreat, but his right leg suddenly stopped in midair. Long Fei's heart sank. People from the Long family never retreat. Bam! At this moment, Long Fei's mind suddenly opened. As he took a step forward, Long Fei's eyes narrowed. With incomparable resolution, he said, crouching corpses into 1,000,000 and blood flowing like rivers. Along the way, all the way, I've gone berserk. 36 search. Half floating / / equals my Dao. Path of Killing. Chapter 5. Thank you for your support of the 50 votes for The Old City is Not Warm for Youngsters. Thank you. It was 9 o'clock in the morning and the ocean had been updated earlier than usual. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/23576060. The system had merged together, and along the way, all of Long Fei's paths were filled with killing intent. The system had merged together, and along the way, all of Long Fei's paths were filled with killing intent. Kill those who deserve to be killed. To slaughter and leveled up demon beast. After he entered the illusory realm, where millions of corpses were buried and blood flowed like rivers, Long Fei suddenly realized that his way was the way to kill. Therefore, when facing this million-strong army, Long Fei was very calm. His gaze turned sinister as he roared out in a heavy tone, Dragon Salyer come. Buzz! The dragon's salure let out a hum as it landed heavily in Long Fei's hands. Kill. Without waiting for the huge army of 1,000,000 to descend, Long Fei rushed forward, unparalleled level 5, open. Boom! After unleashing 32 folds of elemental power, Long Fei desperately rushed forward, and with a heavy leap, he decapitated one of the leaders. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei, killing thought +1. Long Fei looked at the system and muttered, "You can condense Dao Heart by killing all these? Could it increase the rate at which one's Dao Heart is condensed? Since that's the case, let's kill them all." The refining of a Dao Heart required the accumulation of time. It could not leap forward just like that. It would take several decades, 100 years of accumulation to consolidate its Dao Heart. Only then would its condensed Dao Heart become even more resolute. However, the 3,000 great Daos were different. It only existed to kill, to not stop until one was dead, to never stop killing, to never stop killing, to be able to create killing thought if there was killing. In addition, Long Fei was different from other warriors. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei, killing thought +1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei, killing thought +1. Ding! The system continuously sounded out. Long Fei continuously killed without a care. In his world, there was only one option. The aura coming from his body is so strong. Zhang Tianya's heart tightened slightly. Feeling the aura Long Fei released, he couldn't help but become shocked. And among these auras, there wasn't any dragon's might that could be released from the heavenly hall of immortals. What kind of world is the illusory realm he is in now? I really want to know. The Violet Bamboo Path was also known as the Dao Heart Path. Anyone who entered the illusory world was different. There were people in the garden world, people in the swamp abyss, and people in the sea of flames and sabers. Zhang Tianyi wanted to know what the illusory realm Long Fei was in was. Other than him, many people wanted to know. Xiao Wandao looked at the violent aura being released from Long Fei's body. What kind of illusory realm are you in? Outer Space Palace of the Outer Space Palace also asked, what kind of Dao Heart world are you in? You haven't stepped out of it for such a long time. What kind of world are you facing? After an entire half an hour had passed, Long Fei had yet to take a single step forward. At this moment, a strange scene happened. The wounds on Long Fei's body started to appear, and blood started to gush out from the wounds. Zhang Tianyi was shocked. What's going on? Man Tuo Yuo immediately rushed to Zhang Tianyi's side and said, Great Principal, how could he be injured? Wasn't the illusory realm completely unrelated to the real world? How'd you get hurt and bleed? Chen Tianfei followed. Great Principal, the General Assembly won't be in danger. While they were worrying, the Pan Clan people started laughing out loud. Ha ha! You only took half an hour to take one step. I have to admit that the people from Long Family are all trash. Haha. What Long Family? They used to be in Long Family. Now they're probably a dead dog family. I was wondering how strong he was, but it turns out he's just a weakling. Look at his painful expression. Taking even a single step is so difficult. He won't be able to pass the third stage. Trash is trash. The disciples of the Pan Clan began to mock him. Fatty Chun was extremely displeased and wanted to get angry, but he was immediately glared back by Zhang Tianyi. His gaze swept across the place as he said slightly, Long Fei might have walked with great difficulty, but he is much stronger than any of you, because if he dares to face us, what about you? He didn't even dare to show his face. So how could he have the qualifications to mock others? Pan Xian let out a cold laugh and said, We don't need to face it because we ourselves clearly know what kind of Dao heart we have condensed. We don't need to show it to you, and you didn't say that you couldn't fly over during the third stage of the examination, right? Pan Xian was not afraid of Zhang Tianyi. Zhang Tianyi frowned and thought in his heart, could it be that all of Sky, separating clans' disciples, have condensed a Dao heart? Pucci, Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, and a few wounds appeared on his body. Man Tuo Yuo became even more anxious and asked, Great Principal, will he be all right? Zhang Tianyi shook his head lightly and said, I don't know either. A situation like this has never happened before. He had never seen someone injured inside the fantasy world before. At most, it would only be a mental injury, but it was never a physical injury. He didn't understand. Elder Pan, who did not understand, and neither did Xiao Wandao. Even the Supreme God did not understand. However, not far away, on top of a tree, there was a veiled young girl. Her expression was one of great shock, and she was overwhelmed with shock. Could it be that he walked the path of slaughter? Killing thought. That's impossible, right? It is impossible to condense such a Tao. Even if it is condensed, no one will be able to walk on it with determination. In the end, it will destroy the self because it cannot withstand the destructive killing intent brought by the killing Tao. As she watched the scars on Long Fei's body continuously increase, she seemed to have a sense of what kind of world Long Fei was in the illusory realm. A world of slaughter. The reason she knew about the killing path was because Dark Domain had had a few master rankers walk on it, which eventually drove her crazy. The killing thought would be swallowed and then completely explode into pieces. Because, amongst the power of the 3,000 great roads and countless small paths, the killing path was the most difficult to control. It was like an extreme path that would never stop once it started spinning. One had to constantly slaughter to satisfy it. The veiled girl stared at Long Fei. Can you endure it? Bang! Bam! Long Fei kept on killing, and under his feet, the number of corpses increased from 100 to 1,000, and finally, they piled up into a gigantic mountain of corpses. Standing at the peak of the mountain of corpses, he roared out loudly, "Come! Come with me, all of you! Fear nothing!" Blood was dripping from his body. Looking at the army that was charging towards him, he didn't stop and continued to behead them. A killing without any defense. His body was currently injured, as was his fleshly body. If he could not persevere on, he would die here, and his fleshly body would die as well. The Tao of Death. There was a path of death itself. Since he had taken the first step, Long Fei had no intention to retreat. Kill. An hour had passed, and 10 days had passed in the illusory realm where Long Fei was in, yet he still hadn't stopped. Table of contents, 2 hours passed. 3 hours passed. For an entire month, the corpses under his feet were piled up in the sky. Standing at the peak, his eyes were bloodshot, and the killing aura around him was incomparably thick. At this moment, Long Fei looked at the million killing thought-s in the system and roared out, "Killing thought, condense for me." Chapter 18_/2357061. Rumble, rumble. With a huge explosion, the sky and earth changed color where Long Fei was in the illusory realm, and a streak of crimson-red lightning struck down from the sky, exploding above Long Fei's head. TL. Ha! Long Fei raised his eyes slightly, looked at the furious claps of thunder in the sky. His gaze turned sinister and roared, "What's wrong? You want to stop me too?" Rumble. Another bolt of lightning struck down heavily and exploded beside Long Fei. This time, it was even more powerful than last time. Long Fei clenched his dragon salure and slowly stood up, his eyes staring at the sky. He said, "If anyone can stop me, I will kill. If demons can stop me, I will exterminate the demons. If they want to stop me, I will break the earth. If the heavens can stop me, I will cut the heavens. You want to stop me? I'm going to cut through this entire day. I'm going to make sure that you can't cover my eyes any longer." Long Fei's body was extremely arrogant. The aura around his body crazily ignited. At this moment, the Azure Dragon Patriarch was excited. Golden Dragon Master was excited. Blood Dragon Ancestor, Ancestor of Dark Dragon God were all excited. Because, in that instant, Long Fei seemed to have activated a little bit of the power of Yuan Long S. Fear nothing. So what if it was the heavens? So what if it was the earth? If anyone dares to stop me, I'll kill them all. Long Fei took a heavy leap forward, the dragon salure in his hand chopped down at the sky, and roared angrily, Come. Rumble, rumble. The sky was enraged, and red lightning flew wildly in the sky, wreaking havoc. Long Fei retaliated crazily. The sword and blade of the dragon Salyer slashed down. All the energy in his body flowed into the dragon Salyer, and the power of the dragon Salyer pierced through the sky and struck down heavily. At the same time, the killing thought in Long Fei's heart was also rapidly condensing. Dragon Spirit Killer. Long Fei slashed down at the sky. A pitch-black blade energy struck out, cutting off all the scarlet lightning. At the same time, an even stronger lightning strike struck down. Up. Long Fei roared. The more powerful he was, the crazier he became. Another hour passed. Long Fei did not stop to rest. Countless cracks appeared in the sky as he continuously slashed at the sky. Long Fei's body was also smashed into pieces by the power of thunder, his entire body covered in blood. Pain. However, Long Fei's killing thought was incomparably firm. Continue. Long Fei panted heavily, still acting arrogant. The killing thought in the system was just a little bit away from completion. Before that, he had to break through this sky-severing slash. Using the power of heaven, severing also stimulated the killing thought, making it even more powerful. Long Fei roared again and attacked once more. Life is not death. When people were born, they would go crazy. He won't be able to hold on for much longer. There's blood all over my body. I can't take it anymore. What the hell is this kid doing? This is where I'm going to die. A whole 5 hours had passed, and Long Fei still remained in his original position. What exactly was he experiencing? No one knew. At the same time, some people were also mocking him. Don't tell me that this fellow is trying to use this as a trick to pass the examination. Trash from the South Horizon region is simply unable to pass the assessment. You're right. In the last 1,000,000 years, the South Horizon region has been a wasteland. How could he, a trash from the South Horizon region, pass the examination? Pan Xian looked at Zhang Tianai and said, Headmaster, with him in this state, is there still a need to continue the assessment? It's been 5 hours already. Our time is very precious. How can we waste it on a piece of trash like that? Chun Tianfei was immediately angered and shouted, Who the F***CK are you calling a trash? Pan Xian coldly looked at Chun Tianfei and said disdainfully, Don't worry, the one I'm talking about isn't you. Because you're even inferior to a piece of trash. Chun Tianfei was instantly enraged and went berserk. Zhang Tianai shook him, then said to Pan Xian, This is my problem. It's not up to you to care. I will determine whether his results pass or not. Pan Xian smirked and said, I am only reminding you to not waste your time on a useless trash. Try one more F***king trash. Chun Tianfei was infuriated. She could say that he was fine, but she could not say that she was his boss. Pan Xian didn't even look at him because he knew Chun Tianfei didn't have the qualifications. Zhang Tianya's brows tightened. He could feel that Long Fei's life was falling crazily and was about to collapse. Kid, what on earth have you been through? Zhang Tianya's heart sank. This won't do. If this goes on, you'll definitely die inside. Long Fei's current physical body was too weak. He was already on the verge of collapsing. If he did not stop now, he might very well die here. Qiu Wandao also told Zhang Tianai via sound transmission, Junior brother, I'm afraid Long Fei can't take anymore. Zhang Tianai took a step forward and landed at the entrance of the purple bamboo trail. He was only a meter away from Long Fei, and looking at Long Fei, whose entire body was covered in blood, he said in a low voice, Brat, I'm sorry. The elders of the Pan clan laughed coldly as they thought to themselves, he is going to fail. He will never be able to form his Tao heart. Outer Space Palace's supreme god also tightened his eyebrows. Long family's people couldn't even condense their Tao hearts successfully? Is this because of the negative activation to dragon blood? He's still too weak. Furthermore, the Long Zhanting of back then was completely incomparable. If he fails this time, he will never have the chance to condense his Tao heart again. To condense a Tao heart was a painful process. If one failed the first time and failed to condense a Tao heart, into its elementary form, then it would be considered a failure. The result of failure was that one would never be able to form a Tao heart. This way, the path of cultivation would be extremely difficult, and one would be unable to break through all sorts of shackles. Failure is not cruel. The cruel thing was that if he failed, he would never have a chance. The veiled girl also sighed slightly and muttered, "The killing thought is too difficult to condense. Too much killing will only result in an even heavier punishment from the heavens. Not a single person in the Tianwu continent has succeeded in killing this path. It seems like he can't do it either." Everyone believed that Long Fei would fail, because they all knew that Long Fei's body was already at the brink of death, and if they didn't stop him, he would die. If he stopped it, then he would fail and forever lose the opportunity to condense his Tao heart. The Tao heart and life are more important? To Zhang Ti and I, Long Fei's life was a little more important. Moreover, he had to ensure Long Fei's safety. Huff! Zhang Ti and I exhaled and extended a hand in, saying slightly, "Long Fei, give up." At this moment, the illusory realm in which Long Fei was in complete chaos. Long Fei held onto the dragon Salyer tightly and roared out, "Last slash, dark dragon god slash. Break for me, rumble, rumble, rumble." With a thunderous crash, the sky split open. Broken, this slash had shattered the sky. At the same time, ding, chapter 28_8419/23570062. The system beep rang. The system beep rang. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for condensing the killing thought. You have gained 100 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special gift pack. Do you want to start? After the killing thought's refinement was successful, the black gift box in the system once again shone with a golden light. Long Fei then clicked on it. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the legendary divine rank technique, Killing God Chop. Do you wish to cultivate it? Killing God Chop. Long Fei's eyes moved. He became excited and said, "Cultivate." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training Killing God Chop for obtaining 100 experience points, Power of Celestial 100 points, and a special 100 points reward. Skill Path, Killing God Chop grade, Legendary grade consumption, 1/ of the Power of Celestial value description. Possesses the power of the heaven-breaking sword god. Once released, the user will be incomparable. It was an explosive cultivation technique. Long Fei looked at the Killing God Chop's description and thought to himself, this should be a high-leveled technique that can only be activated after fusing with the Killing Thought, right? Killing Thought. The moment Long Fei thought of breaking through the heavens, the elementary form of the Killing Thought in his body condensed and formed and floated above his mind like a thin crystal. This is the Killing Thought? The Yin Huang ancestor suppressed his excitement and said, "Brat, this is only the prototype of the Killing Thought. If you want to strengthen the Killing Thought, you need to slaughter endless people in order to nurture the Killing Thought. This path is very difficult. It can be said to be the most difficult of the 3,000 great Taos." Yin Huang ancestor was huge, and at the same time, he was very excited, because once the Killing Thought made a breakthrough, once it entered a high state, it would become a god-killing heart. It would be an unrivaled existence, even in the Chaos realm. However, among the experts that he knew, there was not a single one who was able to cultivate the Killing Thought to the god-killing heart realm, even if there were only a few who cultivated the killing path in Chaos realm. The Tao of Death. It was a combination of killing. If they killed too much, it would attract Sky Law, and at the level of flying, Sky Law would become extremely strong, and no one would be able to handle Sky Law. This was also what the Yin Huang ancestor was worried about. Long Fei said, "Since I have walked this path, I will walk this path all the way to the end. No matter what I have to face in the future, I will continue walking forward." Yin Huang ancestor said excitedly, "Persisting with your heart, do not let the killing intent control you. Killing thought is difficult, but you must firm up your resolve and trust in yourself. Long Fei replied. It was also at this time that Long Fei's illusory realm disappeared, and his body sank slightly. An intense pain welled up in his heart, making him nearly fall down from his standing position. However, Long Fei raised his right foot heavily and stepped forward. Buzz! With a buzz under his feet, he walked out. It was also at this time that Zhang Tinya's hand grabbed air, and when he saw Long Fei again, he realized that he had already walked out. Zhang Tinya's expression changed greatly. Looking at Long Fei's back figure, he suddenly felt incomparably imposing. Good boy, he couldn't have already condensed a Dao heart, right? Qiu Wandao was extremely excited. Haha, this brat must have condensed a Dao heart. I never would have thought, never thought, aha. Excited. Incomparable excitement. The purple bamboo path is only used to test your Dao heart, to see if it's firm and resolute. However, it is unable to condense your Dao heart. This was absolutely impossible. But for Long family, anything was possible. Outer Space Palace. Supreme God suddenly stood up and stared at Long Fei, who was steadily walking forward. His eyebrows tightened, and he muttered, "A single step to condense a Dao heart. Even the ancestor cannot do it." As expected, the people from Long family are not simple. I never thought that he would be stronger than Long Zhanting. Seems like he will definitely be able to find the secret treasure of the Dragon Clan. Huh? Supreme God suddenly laughed out loud. The secret treasure of the Dragon Clan, the secret skill of eternal life, just you wait. The closer Long Fei was to the Dragon Clan's secret treasure, the closer he got to him. According to the prophecy, only the disciples of the Long family can find a dragon domain. Long Fei, you must be the prophet's son? Supreme God's eyes were filled with incomparable anticipation. The number one secret of Sky Martial Continent, the disappearance of the Dragon Clan. The first treasure which the Dragon Clan had brought from the other realms. Supreme God suddenly realized that they were not too far away from him. The veiled young lady was also secretly shocked. I didn't expect you to really do this. The people of Long family are really abnormal. You actually succeeded in being injured like this. What did he experience? What difficulties did he suffer in the illusory realm? I suddenly want to know. Looking at Long Fei's determined steps, she felt that Long Fei was more like an enigma, unfathomable. Long Fei was in great pain. Even though he had condensed the killing thought, his body was on the verge of collapse, and it was very uncomfortable. Every step was extremely difficult. His body was swaying, as if he was an old man in his last years, who could possibly fall to the ground. Fatty Chun, Man Tall Yuo, and Xiaoing stood at the exit, looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, just a little more, persevere. You have to hold on." Long Fei's body was covered in blood. The path he took was filled with blood. The entire pathway was filled with his blood, just like how he had walked the entire way here. It was a path that was dripping with blood. Long Fei did not use Yama Minamiya's method to absorb health point, nor did he use any other method to recover his health point. Step by step, he walked out with incomparable determination. At this moment, Pan Xian's gaze darkened, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. What kind of illusory realm did Long Fei encounter? He didn't know. What Pan Xian knew was that Long Fei was extremely weak right now. His body was on the verge of collapsing. This was an opportunity to easily kill him. Moreover, Zhang Tianai was on the other side, and as long as he made a move, no one would be able to stop him. Pan Xian looked at Pan Shi. Pan Shi's gaze tensed up as he nodded his head slightly. It was also at this moment that his body slowly approached her without a sound. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Long Fei, and no one moved a muscle. If you're weak, then so be it. Take a look at how your injuries are, and then scram back to the South Horizon region. The disciples of the Pan clan started laughing at him. Many of the surrounding disciples also laughed. In their eyes, Long Fei was too foolish. He could have clearly jumped over, but he insisted on walking over step by step. Moreover, why did he hurt himself so badly? Thus, even if Long Fei's entire body was drenched in blood, not many people admired him. On the contrary, he was definitely a person who liked to flatter others, and he thought that he would get the respect of the God Emperor Academy elders just because of this. Floating life. Table of contents, no windows. A++, 10 steps. 9 steps. 8 steps. Chun Tianfei yelled out just as Long Fei took a step and said, "Boss is just a bit away." Chapter 38_8419/2357063. His steps felt like they weighed 10,000 pounds. His steps felt like they weighed 10,000 pounds. The last step, Long Fei stepped out and his body sank down. Just like the breaking through the seal, the power of the killing thought immediately surged, covering his entire body. At this moment, his killing thought's elementary form could be considered to have truly been completed. The statistical elder said excitedly, "Long Fei pass." It was also at this moment. He wasn't too shocked. On the contrary, it was just a series of sighs. If I had known, I would have used 5 hours. What's there to brag about walking for 100 meters in 5 hours? Looking at how excited they are just like country bumpkins who have never seen the world. If you have the guts, then you're the same as Pan Clan disciples. You can pass through them in an instant. Look how wonderful it is to make them happy. Quite a few examinees mocked. Long Fei did not pay any attention to him, as he was too tired and his body was too heavy. The moment he stepped out, if not for Chun Tianfei supporting him, he really would have fallen to the ground and fainted. To condense one killing thought, he had to exhaust everything. In the illusory realm, it seemed as if he only had 5 hours, but he had spent an entire 50 days without stopping to sleep or sleep. Pan Xian walked out and looked at Long Fei with a disdainful expression, saying, "The people of Long family are just not the same. To actually be able to pass the examination, you're truly amazing. Seeing how amazing you are, why don't you enter the newcomer ranking tournament ahead of time?" Pan Xian laughed. Man Toaluo said angrily, "What do you mean? The examination is not over yet. What ranking tournament?" Pan Xian stared coldly at Man Toaluo and said, "Who do you think you are? Are you qualified to talk to me? Long Fei, do you dare? The people of Long family are not afraid of the heavens, the earth, nor anything. Are you afraid now? As long as you nod your head in front of me, Pan Xian, saying that I, Long Fei, am scared, that's fine. In any case, your Long family is currently just a trash clan in the southern domain and has been stepped on like mud." Pan Xian laughed proudly. Chun Tianfei was furious beyond words and said, "Pan Xian, this old man will fight with you." The corner of Pan Xian's mouth drew back and said, "And where did this dog come from? Are you qualified to fight with me?" He. Chun Tianfei was extremely furious, staring straight at Pan Xian. He wanted to kill him. Zhang Ti and I also quickly rushed over and asked, "Pan Xian, what are you planning to do?" Pan Xian smiled slightly and said, "I don't want to do anything. I just want to see if the great trash of Long family dares to accept my challenge." Now it seems that he is just a weak person. What Long family isn't afraid of. It seems that he is only SOSO, haha. The Pan clan disciple laughed out loud. Secretly, Pan Shi was accumulating his power. Zhang Ti and I said solemnly, "Pan Xian, if you dare to break the rules of the God Emperor Academy again, don't blame me for being impolite." Yo. Don't blame me for being impolite. Pan Xian revealed a look of fear and said, "Great principal, do you really think you're nothing but a spring onion? Try touching me if you dare. Let's see who dies first today." Pan Xian was not the least bit afraid, because there were still the Pan clan elders and terrifying experts present. Very arrogant. Very arrogant. Pan Xian wanted to step on Long Fei precisely that, and viciously stomp on him. Pan Xian looked at Long Fei, not daring to say a single word, and became even more proud of himself. Long family? That's more like it. You want to fight against my Pan clan, just like that? Long Fei, you are too trash. I forgot. The South Horizon region is a wasteland, and everyone who came here are trash. Ha! Man Toaluo was furious. Chun Tianfei was angry. Xiao and was even more furious. However, Long Fei slightly closed his eyes As though he did not hear anything, with a calm expression, he opened his eyes after a few seconds. His body moved as he stood up heavily and said, Pan Xian, you want to fight, right? Chen Tianfei immediately said, Boss, don't fight with him. Young Master Long, your body is too weak right now. You can't fight him. Man Tuoyuo was also worried that Long Fei would not be able to control himself. Zhang Tianai slightly said, The newbie ranking tournament will only start tomorrow, so you can reject it, Long Fei. Pan Xian laughed coldly and said arrogantly, No, I just wanted to stomp you to death, that's all. Right, you want to stomp me to death. Long Fei started laughing with a very sinister smile, like a death god. He turned around, shouted, and said, Then let's see who steps on who to death. He moved. Boom. A surge of energy surged through his body. Killing thought hummed. The killing intent on his body gushed out crazily. Pan Xian was not afraid in the slightest as he said, You dog, prepare to die. Pan Shi, who was in the dark, also made a move. However, the color of the sky changed. The earth was devoid of light. A shocking wave of energy struck down, and the dragon Salyer in Long Fei's hands chopped down, roaring in his heart, killing God Chop. Crack! There was no sign of saber energy. There were no moves. It used only endless killing intent, a killing intent that seemed capable of beheading even gods. With a shocking slash, it quietly descended. Pan Shi didn't have enough time to sneak in a sneak attack. Pan Xian also did not have time to react. Behind him, the Pan clan disciples, and even the Pan clan elders, all did not have time to react. A system notification rang out. Long Fei retracted his dragon Salyer, stared at the Pan Xian who was standing motionlessly at the place, and laughed coldly. Who's going to die now? Stomp me to death? You think you are worthy of it? If Long family can stomp you once, I can stomp you twice. While they were talking, Pan Xian's eyes dimmed, and his body fell to the ground heavily. His eyes were extremely wide, and he died with grievances. There was not a single wound on his body. No blood at all. However, he was going to die. Killed him instantly. Moreover, Long Fei moved his dragon Salyer. Without any movement or movement, no energy surged. Only the killing intent on his body, which disappeared the moment he put away the dragon Salyer. Then, Pan Xian was killed. It was too fast. He was so fast that he couldn't even react. What had happened? Long Fei's gaze swept across them, stared at the disciples of the Pan clan, and said coldly, Be obedient and don't act cocky in front of me. If you anger me, I will slap you so hard that your mother won't recognize you. His voice was laced with killing intent. Those Pan clan disciples were completely crushed. Just like that, just like that. Xiao Ying's face was filled with infatuation as she said, Young Master Long, you're really too handsome. Young Master Long is mighty and domineering. Sister-in-law 1-/+ health, strongest upgrade system Chen Tianfei was also extremely excited and said, Boss, mighty ha. Pan clan, how arrogant are you? How could you be so easily killed by my boss idea? Ha. Weak. You call it weak now? Sky separating clan. I'll start my bullshit clan. Ha. Chapter 48_8419/2357064. You're crazy. I'm even more crazy than you. You're crazy. I'm even more crazy than you. You want to fight? Yes. You're just giving me experience. The reason why Long Fei was silent in the beginning was because he was waiting for the fairy stone root to help him recover his power of celestial. Awesome? Arrogant? What was he smug about? One-hit kill. No matter how amazing he was still arrogant. The disciples of the Pan clan looked at each other, dumbfounded. They were all the elites of the Pan clan's vanguard team, and Pan Xian was the strongest disciple amongst the 100 of them. However, Pan Shi rushed forward and helped Pan Xian up, senior brother. The disciples of the Pan family also rushed forward, senior brother. An elder rushed out. He stared at Long Fei and shouted, Kill my Pan clan disciple, die. The clan elder rushed forward and hacked down towards Long Fei's head. Power like a mountain came crashing down from all directions. Zhang Tianai moved, pushed with both of his palms to block the attack, and said, "This is the God Emperor Academy, not your Pan clan. If you want to make a move here, you have to ask me if I agree." Roar! Zhang Tianai was furious. He directly forced that elder to withdraw. There was a riot yesterday, but it must not happen again today. The clan elder's hands were numb. All the blood in his body was boiling. He had also retreated backward explosively, staring at Zhang Tianai. "Zhang Tianai, you want to become enemies with my Pan clan?" Zhang Tianai shouted. "Elder Pan, I am only letting you know that this is the God Emperor Academy." "Humph!" the elder shouted. "If you dare not make an enemy out of my Pan family, then move to the side. Otherwise, I'll take care of you as well." "Too arrogant." Zhang Tianai frowned and said, "Then come. Let's see how you will deal with me." He was furious. The people from the Pan family were too arrogant. The moment the chi on the elder's body moved, an even denser energy surged out. Long Fei laughed coldly. "If you want to fight, you're the one who said so. Now that you are being killed, you're just acting like this. You want to kill me? If you have the guts, come at me." Long Fei walked forward and said, "This father really isn't afraid of any Pan clan." Zhang Tianai immediately shouted, "Long Fei, retreat." Long Fei did not retreat. With things having gotten to this point, as long as the Pan family made a move against him, he would not hesitate at all. The clan elder stared at Long Fei with murderous eyes and said, "Good, good, good. Rampant, right? I'll let you know what it means to die." Finished. He took a step forward. At this moment, Pan Zhan walked out, lightly said, "Third brother, stop." Zhang Tianai also frowned and said to Long Fei in a low voice, "Be careful. This person's cultivation is not below mine." The chi on Pan Zhan's body was just too thick. Moreover, was around 50 to 60 years old, but the explosive power in his body was not something to be reckoned with. Long Fei's heart tightened. Zhang Tianai was the strongest warrior in the God Emperor Academy. Even he was afraid of him. So what about the cultivation level of this old man? It was hard to imagine. However, at the same time, Long Fei became excited. Looking at the golden light on Pan Zhan's body, he thought to himself, "You should be the biggest boss of the Pan clan, right? Haha. If it explodes, the holy artifact should be able to. The Pan clan, aren't they descendants of Pangu? If it is, can it drop a Pangu bloodline or a Panga's axe?" Long Fei's brain was always crazy. When Zhang Tianai told him to be more careful, he was instead incomparably excited, just like a madman. Of course, Zhang Tianai would naturally not think about what was on Long Fei's mind. If he knew that Long Fei was planning to blow Pan Zhan up, he would definitely think that Long Fei's brain was broken. When the other disciples saw Pan Zhan, they immediately greeted him respectfully, "Great clan elder." The elders said angrily, "Big brother, Pan Xian is dead. We cannot let him go now." Pan Zhan looked at Long Fei. His eyes was like diamond eyes, staring at Long Fei. Long Fei's body faintly sank. This was not the pressure, but the aura of someone at a higher level. His eyes, in particular, were extremely terrifying. Pan Zhan glanced at Long Fei, then turned to Zhang Tianai and said, "Headmaster, you publicly killed the student of God Emperor Academy. How should this be convicted?" Zhang Tianai was startled. He did not expect Pan Zhan to suddenly ask this, and said, "The God Emperor Academy has its laws. Killing a fellow sect member is considered a crime and is punished with death. However, Pan Xian was the one who started this earlier, so this matter should be a different story." Pan Zhan looked at Zhang Tianai and laughed. "There's no need to talk about things differently. I am already very clear about this. Our Pan family will admit defeat in this matter." However, Pan Zhan looked at the cold smiles on Long Fei and Zhang Tianai's faces and said coldly, "You may not know what methods the Pan family have up their sleeves, but you will soon know." Finished. Pan Zhan turned around and shouted, "Disciples of the Pan family, listen up, leave." No one said anything. All of them quickly retreated. However, Long Fei felt an ominous premonition rising in his heart. He wasn't afraid of Pan Zhan going crazy, but he was very afraid with a dense, sinister smile in his eyes. Sister Yin Shan? Long Fei's heart immediately tightened, and he said, Great Principal, I have some matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. Zhang Ti and I also did not know what Pan Zhan's words meant, but when he saw that Long Fei was about to leave, he immediately said, You're currently heavily injured, so you can't leave. Today you will rest here for the day, and tomorrow will be the ranking tournament. Your current body definitely won't be able to hold on. However, Long Fei did not care and said, I really have urgent matters. I will definitely give it my all in tomorrow's ranking tournament, and I won't disappoint you. Finished. Long Fei did not care about Zhang Ti and I stopping him, and quickly ran out. Man Tao Yuo and Fatty Chen also ran out. Boss, wait for me. The three of them also caught up. Zhang Ti and I looked at the distant Long Fei and muttered, I can still protect you here, but if you leave this place, the Pan clan will not care about the consequences. He could also see the cold, killing intent in Pan Zhan's eyes. He was worried that Pan Zhan would attack Long Fei. When he thought about Qiu Wandao, Zhang Tinya's heart relaxed slightly. With the protection of the senior brother, it shouldn't be easy for Pan Zhan to harm him either. All right then. And then Pan Zhan shouted loudly, The assessment will continue. Even though his body was extremely weak, Long Fei did not dare to stop for half a second and rushed to God's Phoenix Pavilion with his fastest speed. Fu Xishan was not present. Long Fei was incomparably anxious as he looked at the Uncle Lei in the courtyard and asked, Where is Sister Yin Shan? Uncle Lei looked at Long Fei's anxious expression and said, What happened? Miss went out to discuss some matters. Long Fei immediately asked, Where can we talk? The Uncle Lei replied, She didn't say. With Brother Feng by her side, she should be fine. At this moment, Fu Xishan walked into the courtyard, looked at Long Fei, and said, Will today's assessment be over? Seeing Fu Xishan relax, Long Fei immediately walked forward and hugged Fu Xishan and muttered, It's good that you're okay. It's good that you're okay. Suddenly, Long Fei's mind suddenly exploded and thought to himself, Could something have happened in the South Horizon region? Chapter 5. Thank you so much for your monthly tickets. Thank you so much for your Young Master Zhou, Young Master Wei, Rose, and so many of your brothers' monthly tickets, and thank you all at sea. 8_8419/2357066. In all of God Emperor City, only Fu Xishan worried him. In all of God Emperor City, only Fu Xishan worried him. Fatty Chun, Man Tao Yuo, shouting were all by his side. Also, it was Qiu Wandao. Long Fei should not have to worry about his words. Could it be that I'm overthinking it? Long Fei's heart relaxed. If it wasn't the Fengyuan Merchant Union, then who else could it be? The South Horizon region? Lang Qianli isn't back yet. Could something have really happened in the South Horizon region? Long Fei was very worried in his heart because of the appearance of the Sky Separating Clan. If the Sky Separating Clan appeared in the Immortal Domain, then would there be a branch power organization in the South Horizon region? Long Fei could not help but ask, Ancestor, when will Lang Qianli return? Yan Huang Ancestor replied, I'm not sure either, but it should be soon. Fu Xishan looked at Long Fei's worried expression and asked, Long Fei, what's wrong? You're covered in blood. Who did this to you? Long Fei smiled lightly and said, I'm fine. At this time, outside the God's Phoenix Pavilion, an old man driving the carriage looked at the God's Phoenix Pavilion and shouted, Is there anyone that is in charge? Fu Tianlong walked out. Seeing the item on the old man's cart, his brows immediately tightened and shouted, What did you give this old man? Go, go. It's not here. You sent it to the wrong place. The old man said, That's right. My employer told me to deliver it to the God's Phoenix Pavilion, right? He gave me a total of 10 taels of silver. Fu Tianlong asked angrily, Who's the employer? The old man replied, I didn't say his name. I only said that his surname was Pan and that he had asked a person named Long Fei to accept his goods. I don't know the specifics. I'm just a delivery man. It was unlucky to send the coffin. There were also many bystanders on the streets. all pointing at God's Phoenix Pavilion and talking about him. Offending the Pan clan definitely won't end well. The Pan Clan Merchant Union and the Nine Business Union have joined forces to take over the entire market. Who would come here to buy things now? I heard that the Pan family elders have already developed the Long Yang pill. Even the most famous steel monster in the auction is now being studied. I believe it won't be long before it appears again. The Fengyuan Merchant Union is almost finished. Fu Shishan heard the noise in front of him as he walked out of the backyard. He kept feeling that there must be something going on with the last dark and cold look in Pan Zhan's eyes. Fu Shishan walked over and asked, "Uncle Sky Dragon, what happened?" Fu Tianlong said, "This old man sent a coffin over. He said it's for young Master Long." Fu Tianlong looked at Long Fei and whispered, "Young Master Long, the employer is a member of the Pan family." The old man said, "Which one of you is Long Fei? Please accept him. I still have to rush back." At this moment, a passerby cried out in alarm, "There's blood under the coffin. There's someone inside." Everyone was shocked. They all looked over and saw drops of blood dripping from the coffin. The old man's legs trembled as he hurried to get down the coffin. His face was pale as he looked at the blood dripping from the coffin. "I don't know anything. I'm just a delivery man. I really don't know. If I knew there was someone inside, I wouldn't have given it away." Long Fei rushed forward and opened the coffin, looking at the person inside. His face sank. Elder Zhou, the elder of God Emperor Academy's refining department, Zhou Lian, and also the first disciple Long Fei took in. In the past few days, Long Fei did not see him. The center of his eyebrows sunk, and he gritted his teeth so hard that they creaked loudly. The rage in his heart burned hotter and hotter. Zhou Lian's face was bruised, and his entire body was covered in wounds. His 10 fingers were completely broken, and even his joints were shattered. Even if he was cured, he wouldn't be able to take out an iron tempering tool in this lifetime. Long Fei slowly carried Zhou Lian out of the coffin and said to the old man, "Go back and tell your employer that this matter is not over." The old man's face was pale white as he nodded. He looked at Long Fei and asked, "Are you called Long Fei?" Long Fei looked at him, and the old man swallowed his saliva. He gathered his all as he spoke while trembling. "That man told me something. He wanted me to tell you that this is only the beginning." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. With a loud popping sound, he shouted, "Pan family." Then, he quickly carried Zhou Lian inside. Impressive. How could a steel monster be something that could be created so easily? If Long Fei had not personally given it to them, not to mention the Pan clan, even the top refining masters of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals would not be able to do it. It seems that the reason why the Inheritance family members were able to produce the steel monster so quickly was because they had captured Zhou Lian. Other than Long Fei, Zhou Lian was the only one who could refine steel monster. 1 hour later, Zhou Lian's eyes slightly opened, looked at Long Fei, who was beside the bed, and said, "Master, Pan Clan, the Pan Clan is about to make a move on you." Cough, 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 cough. Coughing a few times, black blood gushed out from his body. Long Fei quickly said, "Old Zhou, stop talking, recuperate first." Zhou Lian smiled slightly and said, "I'm fine, I won't die from old bones of mine. Leave the God Emperor's city quickly. The Pan family is much stronger than what you can imagine. Let's leave quickly." In the past few days, he had clearly witnessed the strength of the Pan family. With the accumulation of millions of years, once it emerged, it would sweep across the world. The Pan family was well prepared this time. Long Fei said slightly, "You don't have to worry about me. Old Zhou, just take care of your injuries properly." Zhou Lian said, "Young Master Long, the Pan family is about to succeed. He's about to replicate your steel monster. There's a strong soul master in the Pan family that extracted those memories from my head. Young Master Long, I really didn't say anything. I really didn't say it." There were 2 small bloody holes in his temple. The pain of the memory being wrenched out was unbearable, worse than death. The Pan clan used all kinds of methods to make Zhou Lian say the method to refine Heaven Shaking Sword. However, he didn't say it. It would be best if he could use the mysterious Soul Master to directly extract his memories. Long Fei laughed. Don't worry. I'm worried that he won't be able to copy it. The anger in his heart roared crazily. It was not because of the reproducing of might that shook the heavens, but because of the punishment they had inflicted on Zhou Yan. In another place. What did you say? What happened to my family? Explain it to me. After the exam ended, Zhang Tianai returned to his residence and saw an old man who looked like a servant kneeling on the ground. Tears flowed uncontrollably as he sobbed. Dead. Dead. They're all dead. Young master, big grandmother, and the madam are all dead. They've been killed by a group of masked experts. Woo-woo. It was incomparably painful. Zhang Tianai's body staggered backwards continuously, and he seemed to be unsteady on his feet, and he said, Impossible, impossible. No one knows where that place is. No one knows. Finished. His aura exploded, and he turned into a ball of light, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. He landed in a deep mountain. Once a nice little yard had been filled with the smell of a warm family, but now there was only the smell of blood and the cries of a few crows on the treetops. Blood. There was blood everywhere. There were 18 people in the family, including the servants. Apart from the old man, all of them had died. It was extremely cruel. Strongest upgrade system. Zhang Tianai howled towards the sky, the space constantly exploding, and wave after wave of the metal immortal's power charged up into the sky. Why? It was as if he had gone mad. It was 3 a.m, and her little daughter, who had just reached the full moon, had a high fever. It should be pneumonia, since Haiyang was going to take her to the city hospital. 8_8419/2357068. God Emperor Academy, a hidden valley on the mountainside. God Emperor Academy, a hidden valley on the mountainside. Boom, boom. Powerful energy rushed out, but did not burst out into intense flames. Chua. The two sounds collided and then instantly bounced off. In less than half a second, they clashed and bounced off again. In just a minute, it had already been over 100 moves. Is that all you've got? A middle-aged man looked at him with disdain and said coldly, Qiu Wandao. The strength of his body was somewhat different from the strength of Qiu Wandao's body. The immortal foundation that he fused with was in his arms, chest, back, and legs all covered in a golden shadow. Qiu Wandao's mouth was bleeding as his face became pale. Looking at the middle-aged man in the distance, he said solemnly, the immortal foundation had reached the peak of the 9th layer. Are you a Pan Clan warrior? The middle-aged man raised his eyebrows and smiled. Not bad, to be able to tell that my immortal foundation has reached the peak of the 9th layer, and that I am from the Pan Clan. If that's the case, then you should die even more. With that, the man disappeared. Shua. In an extremely short amount of time, he landed in front of Qiu Wandao. Both of his palms moved, and the immortal foundation on his arms exploded with a gold light, releasing a powerful force. Qiu Wandao blocked it with his hands and could only passively defend. His immortal foundation had only fused with the 8th layer, so he was far from being able to control the immortal foundation like the man did. Moreover, the higher the level of the immortal foundation, the more power it could unleash. Humph. Too weak. Both of his palms suddenly changed. The man hugged onto both of his hands, jumped up high, and then smashed down heavily onto Qiu Wandao's head. The distant azure-robed elder shouted loudly, Old man, be careful. You should worry about yourself. At this moment, another expert charged towards the azure-robed old man. Bam! Bam! With 2 loud bangs, Qiu Wandao and the old man were sent flying 100 meters away at almost the same time. His entire body was in incomparable pain. At the same time, the 2 experts of the Pan Clan were floating in the air. Their eyes were as cold as ice. One of them asked, You like to meddle in other people's business? This is the end. Qiu Wandao, there are some things that you can't do anything about, understand? He spoke with disdain. Qiu Wandao crawled up with difficulty and said, There are some things that I really can't do anything about, but some things are not something that you can change. In his fury, Qiu Wandao once again released the power in his body, and with each step he went through the sky. Violent bear. Roar. A buzzing sound came from his body as a fully armored giant bear charged out. Qiu Wandao stretched out his palm, and the violent bear reached out as well, slapping the two people with its palm. Walala! A huge force sliced through the air, and there was a crackling sound. How reckless! One of the men raised his eyes slightly as the immortal foundation on his body surged. Boom! Without waiting for Qiu Wandao's violent bear attack to land, the huge beast unleashed from his body immediately crushed the violent bear. Bang, bang, bang. The two beasts began to fight with each other. At this moment, the two experts from the Pan clan attacked from both sides. Boom, boom. Qiu Wandao sprayed out a mouthful of blood, and his body fell from the sky like a kite with its string cut. He can't even withstand a single blow. One of the middle-aged men sneered as he looked down on Qiu Wandao. The old man also rushed forward. Boom! He was instantly crushed down and heavily fell down as well. Be it in terms of the fusion of the immortal foundation or cultivation realm, Qiu Wandao and the old man were far weaker than the two experts from the Pan clan. Was this the power of the Pan clan, hidden millions of years of history? Lying on the ground, Qiu Wandao could not move at all. He finally knew how powerful the Pan clan was, and he finally understood what kind of enemy Long Fei was facing. Too strong. He really was too strong. The real power of the Pan clan was not only their hidden millions of years of history, but their immortal roots as well, along with their millions of years of heritage and pure Pan-gu bloodline. This was their true terror. The Pan clan was a descendant of Pan-gu. Inside their bodies flowed Pan-gu bloodline. It was a type of divine ranked blood vein, an invincible existence in the sky martial continent. In the beginning, he did not notice anything from the Pan clan disciples, but now he realized that this kind of blood vein was truly too strong. Moreover, Long Fei's body still only had negative activation to dragon blood. He did not have a single bit of the blood vein's power, let alone a dragon spirit blood vein. How could he be an opponent? Impossible. This time, the Pan clan was truly going to return to their peak. Qiu Wandao's mind tightened and said secretly, Long Fei, you really shouldn't have come to Immortal Domain. At this moment, the two experts from the Pan clan moved as they descended from the sky. Qiu Wandao, you are just an ant. Do you think you have chosen the right side? Wrong. From the moment you helped the kid from Long family, you're already on the Pan family's death list. Everyone who is associated with the Long family will die, but why? For someone like you, the principal of God Emperor Academy, who has reached the golden immortal rank level, to become a cripple would be more painful than killing you, right? While they were talking, the man moved his palm. Buzz! A ray of golden light shot out, aimed at Qiu Wandao's abdomen, and struck down. Break for me. An ear-piercing hum. A powerful force charged into Qiu Wandao's body. All of his limbs and bones were wrapped up by this energy. Following the movement of the male idea, the energy that was entering Qiu Wandao's body instantly exploded. Qiu Wandao let out a painful wail as his pupils violently trembled and his eyeballs were filled with veins of blood. It seemed as if all the energy in his body was drained in an instant. Even the fused demon beast immortal foundation was completely shattered. As a result, his cultivation was shattered in an instant. He had completely collapsed. Gone. Everything was gone. The golden immortal rank immediately vanished. He was not even comparable to an ordinary person. At this moment, the man relaxed his grip, looked at the deathly still Qiu Wandao, and laughed sinisterly. Qiu Wandao, this is the result of going against my Pan clan. Ha ha ha. Qiu Wandao, is this great? It must be great. Ha ha ha. Relax. What's even better is yet to come. Tomorrow, the entire God Emperor city will know about you being crippled, and those people that you have offended will not let you go. Ha ha. The man laughed sinisterly. At the same time, the other man also crippled the azure-robed old man. The two warriors from the Pan family slowly walked into the forest. From the depths of the forest, Waves of eerie laughter could be heard. Long family? Haha. Prepare to be annihilated. Chapter 28_8419/2357069. Other than him, Zhang Tianya's family had also been annihilated. Other than him, Zhang Tianya's family had also been annihilated. Zhou Yin had been crippled and was unable to forge artifacts for the rest of his life. Qiu Wandao and the two rankers who were protecting Long Fei, their cultivation had been crippled into a cripple. In a short day, the Pan family had crushed everything around Long Fei with lightning speed. It was completely useless. However, other than Zhou Yin being crippled, Long Fei was unclear about other things, but this was more than enough to make him furious. Long Fei, the Pan clan is too strong. They're not people that you can handle. Listen to sister's advice and leave the God Emperor city. Fu Xishan was very afraid in his heart. She had interacted with the Pan family merchant union before, and she had always found her skills to be unfathomably profound. Its foundation was far beyond what her Fengyuan merchant union could compare with. Moreover, she was sure that even if the 10 commercial alliances added up their wealth, they would still not be able to match up to the Pan clan. It was just too strong like a mountain, an unshakable, invincible entity. Man, Tao Yuo also followed. Let's leave this place then. We'll come back when we're strong enough. Chen Tianfei, who had always been arrogant and despotic, calmed down at this time and said, "Boss, let's listen to Big Sister. Let's leave God Emperor City and come back after we become stronger. I don't believe that we won't be able to kill him." What was Zhou Yin's identity? An elder of the God Emperor Academy. If he dares to be injured like this, then the Pan family is not afraid of the God Emperor Academy at all. Long Fei's brows slightly tightened and said, "There are many choices in life, and I will never retreat." He had retreated once. When Fireglass City was kneeling to Hong Tianjun in order to protect his life, he swore at that time that he would never retreat for the rest of his life. Not even taking a step back, Fu Xishan shouted, "Why are you so against it? Even if you don't want to think for yourself, you have to think for your family, think for your grandfather. Even if you don't want to talk about Pan Sheng, who became a demon slayer, you can't handle him with just the current Pan clan." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Sis, if we don't try, how come I don't know? Try your ass. You are trying to take your life." Fu Xishan glared at Long Fei and said, "No matter what, I won't allow you to head to the God Emperor Academy for some ranking tournament tomorrow. When the rest of you are not allowed to go. The people from the Pan family are crazy. They can do anything." Fu Xishan said as he looked at Chen Tianfei and the others. "Uncle A, watch out for them. Don't let them leave the room even half a step." Fu Xishan reminded her, and then she walked out of the room. She had to arrange for Long Fei to leave the God Emperor City. However, the current God Emperor City was probably not so easy to get out of. Today, she made a trip to the Imperial Palace. The currently clan was no longer the previous Imperial clan, because he was now controlled by the Pan clan. If he wanted to leave God Emperor City, it was impossible to go through the city gates, so he had to go through other paths. Fu Xishan looked at the pitch-black night sky and clenched his fists tightly. "Big Sis will definitely send you out." In the room, Long Fei stood in front of the window and looked at the pitch-black night sky. The thing he hated the most in his life was someone hurting the people around him. Zhou Yin was only a person who liked to refine weapons, but he was injured to this extent. This was only the beginning. Who would be next? Was it Man Tao Yuo, Fatty Chun, or his family members who were far away in the southern domain? Long Fei didn't know. He only knew that anyone who wanted to harm his family members would die. The Pan family, right? Wait. Long Fei's eyes turned cold. A cold chill flashed past his eyes, and the killing thought in his body started to boil, faintly releasing a killing intent. It was very strong. Uncle A took a deep breath and said lightly, "Brat, you better not be delusional. You won't be able to get out of this room." Long Fei smiled faintly and did not speak. The Uncle Lei continued to speak. "Living is more important than anything. With your life, everything is possible. Long Fei replied, life is naturally important, but there are some things that is more important than life. Since the Pan clan wants to cause trouble, so be it. Didn't he hurt me? Then I'll kill 10 of them, 100, 1,000. Long Fei's killing intent was already set in his heart. The matter that he had decided on was something that no one could change. If you like to play, then let's see who can win against whom. Uncle Lei shook his head and sighed. He closed his eyes and did not speak any further. He would never let Long Fei leave the room. Early morning. It was a brand new day, but for some people, it was a day full of slaughter. In the room. What? He's gone. Usually, she would not be this angry at Uncle Lei when she was speaking to him, but now she could not hold back and asked, why did he disappear? Uncle Lei said, in the morning, he went to the latrine, but he clearly came back and entered the room. But 10 minutes later, his figure disappeared into thin air. Shadow clone technique. Long Fei left the room too many times. Fu Shishan's heart sank. This is bad. Man Tuoyuo's gaze tensed up, his eyes became resolute, and without waiting for him to speak, Fatty Chen grinned excitedly. Looks like we're going to have a big fight today. Ha ha, just thinking about it makes my blood boil. Finished. Chen Tianfei stepped out with big strides, and Man Tuoyuo and Xiaoing followed suit. Long Fei had disappeared. He must have gone to the God Emperor Academy. If he wasn't afraid, then what was there to be afraid of? If Fu Shishan wanted to stop him, he simply could not. Moreover, she threw caution to the wind and followed Man Tuoyuo and the others to the God Emperor Academy. At the God Emperor Academy's assessment site, only 3,000 people passed the third stage, and only so many remained out of 100,000. Whether it was cultivation, talent, or Dao heart, all of them were geniuses amongst geniuses. Everyone in the ranking tournament was 100 times more confident. The higher their ranking was, the more attention they would receive and the more cultivation resources they would receive. They might one day become the legendary Devil Slayer. He's here. A member of the Pan clan has arrived. At the entrance of the martial arts practice grounds, a line of young men in uniform walked in. Their bodies were emitting a dense aura, and each of them was a powerful expert. Their eyes were all filled with a look of disdain from high up in the sky. After arriving at the martial arts practice grounds, they stood quietly at a corner. What a powerful aura! The Pan clan truly deserves to be the defense tribe of the Tianwu continent. Just their auras alone can easily crush any opponent of the same cultivation level. I wish I didn't. Whispers came from the crowd. Not long after the Pan clan disciples entered the training grounds, Long Fei appeared. Among the Pan clan disciples, Pan Shi's eyebrows tightened and a trace of coldness flashed through his eyes. At the same time, Long Fei's eyes flashed with a cold, killing intent. The massacre is about to begin. Chapter 3. I've been at the hospital for the past few days, and Hai Yang is doing her best to update it. Today is the third chapter. I owe you 2 chapters. When my daughter is well and goes back home, all the debts will be filled in. I'm sorry for delaying everyone from their reading. 8_8419/2357070. He still dares to come. He still dares to come. Seems like the lesson taught to him was not enough. Pan Shi sneered. Meeting him in the ranking tournament, I will immediately strike him dead, Pan Shi ordered. The Pan clan disciple behind him nodded his head seriously. Half an hour passed. The time for the ranking tournament had come, but Zhang Tianai did not appear, and many people began to discuss softly. Why isn't the principal here yet? What happened? The principal will never be late. It's already time. What the hell are you doing? A few of the elders from the God Emperor Academy started to discuss in low voices. They did not know what had happened. The only thing they were sure of was that Zhang Tianai was not in the God Emperor Academy, and no one knew where he had gone to. A disciple hurriedly ran into the training field and said to an elder, "Not yet. Can't find it. What happened?" After he left in a hurry yesterday afternoon, he never reappeared again. Principal Xiao, your position is the highest here, so you'll be hosting the newcomer ranking tournament. An elder suggested. Yeah, we can't delay it, can we? It's just a ranking tournament anyway, so it's fine if we compete. In any case, these people all obtain the qualifications to become disciples of the God Emperor Academy. A few elders suggested. Xiao Tianwu slightly said, if there's no reason why I shouldn't interfere with this ranking tournament, then I'll be hosting it. Following that, he walked onto the stage and lightly coughed as he said, the first president can't come because of something. I'll be hosting today's newcomer ranking tournament. This ranking tournament will determine your future path and show your strongest side. Only then will we be able to determine what is suitable for you. Do you understand? Xiao Tianwu looked at Long Fei, who was in the middle of the group of people, and the expression in his eyes tightened. Suddenly, Pan Shi walked out and said, Headmaster, I would like to ask a question. When Xiao Tianwu saw that it was a member of the Pan clan, he said with a smile on his face, Go ahead. Pan Shi said, in the sparring match, victory and defeat must be determined, so it is hard to avoid some mistakes. What if we beat them to death? As he said that, he stared at Long Fei. Yesterday, when Pan Xian had been killed, a ball of fury had been set in his heart. After returning to the Pan clan, the elders had even analyzed Long Fei's power and techniques. He had come prepared for today's ranking tournament, so he definitely had to step on Long Fei before everyone present. Long Fei's current cultivation was not strong, so it could be said that the giants of the Pan clan were able to easily deal with a single Long Fei. However, the Pan family did not do so. Why? Because to step on the Long family in front of everyone, to let everyone see it was him that was stepped on in front of everyone, that everyone would remember. It was just like back then when the Long family stepped on his Pan clan in front of everyone. Xiao Tianwu said slightly, in this competition, fists and legs will always echo. When blades and swords meet, there will definitely be times where they will fail. As for beating him to death, you can only blame yourself. Therefore, let me remind everyone that you must do your best. Xiao Tianwu said indifferently. Pan Shi immediately looked at Long Fei and laughed. Long Fei, did you hear that? No need to be responsible for your death. If you kneel down and admit defeat now, I will give you a chance to live otherwise. For example, if some old thing who refined weapons didn't listen, his hands and feet would be crippled. He was talking about Zhou Lian. It was fine if he did not mention it, but when he mentioned Zhou Lian, the anger in his heart billowed as he clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, Long Fei also stepped forward and asked, I have a question that I want to ask. Xiao Tianwu's expression immediately became ice cold and said, Go ahead. Long Fei said, Since you're not responsible for killing me, then I would like to ask, can I fight you one-on-one? Huh? Ha! Many disciples immediately began to laugh out loud. Is this person retarded? The arena competition itself is a one-on-one. Does that mean he still wants to fight two people against one? You idiot from the South Horizon region. He looks like a country bumpkin that has never seen the world before. Many of the people nearby began to mock him. Xiao Tianwu shouted, What kind of question is this? If you dare to cause trouble again, your qualification will be revoked. Humph. Acted as if he did not hear the mocking laughter of the crowd and Xiao Tianwu's snort, and continued, I might not have been clear enough just now. I'm talking about challenging an entire family. As soon as he finished, the entire audience went silent. Xiao Tianwu's forehead turned sinister as he asked, You want to fight against a single family? Long Fei said, Can you do it? When Long Fei said this, he was also looking at Pan Shi. His eyes were filled with arrogance. You want to kill me in the ring? Hee, I want to kill all the disciples of your family in the ring. Compete in arrogance? The 18 generations of Pan clan ancestors were also a match for Long Fei. Pan Shi became angry and shouted, Long Fei, you're courting death. Long Fei sneered and said, I don't know if I'm courting death, but one thing is certain. You will die. You, and all of you will die today. As they spoke, Long Fei pointed at each and every one of the Pan clan disciples. What do you mean rampant? This is what it is to be arrogant, to point at your face and screw you up. Everyone in the Pan family was furious. If looks could kill, Long Fei would have been pierced through 1,000 times by the eyes of the Pan family. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The key point was that Pan Shi's whole body exploded. His anger assaulted his heart, and he said solemnly, "You like to play big, right? Then Lousy will play with you until the end." While they were talking, Pan Shi looked at Xiao Tianwu and said, "Headmaster, let the competition begin." He couldn't wait any longer. However, Long Fei pressed on. "Lord Principal, you haven't answered me yet? Can you single out a family? If you can, I want to single-handedly fight against the entire Pan clan. I want to defeat all of them by myself." As soon as he finished, everyone looked at Long Fei with no respect, only ridicule. "Idiot! Those people from the South Horizon region are really idiots. How much does he want to die? He soloed the entire Pan family. Is he crazy?" Their cultivations were all top-notch in front of all the new disciples this time. Everyone was praying not to fight with them. While Long Fei was only going to fight with all of the new disciples, he had truly gone mad. Boom! Pan Shi's aura exploded as he landed heavily on the stage and said, "Little bastard, you want to challenge my Pan clan? Strongest upgrade system. If you have the guts, then go ahead. Once you pass my test, you'll be qualified to challenge the entire clan." He was infuriated. He had to behead Long Fei. Long Fei smirked and said, "Really? Chapter 18_8419/2357071. If Pan Shi couldn't hold it back, then Long Fei couldn't hold it in any longer. If Pan Shi couldn't hold it back, then Long Fei couldn't hold it in any longer. A voice rang out. Long Fei then rose from the ground and instantly landed on the stage. Pan Shi's eyes were filled with anger. The immortal foundation on his body started to surge. He moved his feet, and a gold light appeared on his fist. Gold-shattering fist. This kid is dead for sure. One punch, and he'll be killed instantly. Pan Shi's cultivation is from the peak realm of the spiritual immortal, and his power is too strong. It's dead for sure. Arrogant? Don't you know who he is? That's the Pan clan, the ancient family. Xiao Tianwu smiled faintly. Someone from the Long family? In the next second, there might not be any more Long family people left. In his opinion, Long Fei was definitely going to die. Forget about the suppression by realm. Just the power of the shattered gold on Pan Shi's fist was something that Long Fei could not withstand. If he was struck by it, all the tendons in his body would definitely be broken. He couldn't stop it. Not at all. All the elders thought that Long Fei would not be able to withstand this punch. Pan Shi laughed crazily and said, "You little bastard, go and die for me." Long Fei's eyes raised slightly and said, "Fist, right?" His right arm sank. Buzz! The lightning celestial root moved, and crackling sounds of thunder rang out from his arm. Buzz! The power of the golden dragon arm was released. Under his sleeve, a golden dragon tattoo of a small golden dragon appeared on Long Fei's arm. Buzz! With a move of the killing thought in Long Fei's mind, the power of killing path started to surge and directly superimposed on his right arm. And then, Long Fei roared in his heart, "Rank 5 unparalleled." Boom! Under the stimulation of the unparalleled attribute, the three types of powers became extremely terrifying. Looking at the incoming fist of Pan Shi, Long Fei's right arm moved. He clenched his fist. Wong! His strength exploded out as his fist heavily collided with the other party's fist. Rumble! The two fists clashed, and with a loud sound, the strong strength stripes shot out explosively. Long Fei's body slightly sank and retreated a few steps. The instant his body steadied. Moonlit step. Whoosh! Falling into the air, a fist of the same strength struck down. The first punch caused Pan Shi's arm to be blown away, but before he could land on the ground, Long Fei's second punch struck him. Pan Shi bellowed, "Am I afraid of you?" Not waiting for him to finish. Bam! His fist cracked open, and his body heavily crashed down. Shadow Shifter, activate. Schwa! Long Fei landed below him. Not waiting for him to land on the ground, his right fist exploded out, smashing his fist upwards, once again sending Pan Shi flying into the air. Whoosh! Long Fei's figure once again flew into the air. This time, he punched out with both of his fists, and his fists were like a violent storm as they violently struck out. You want to touch my people? With just you. You're just a bullsh asterisk T Pan clan master. If you provoke me, I will die. Bang, 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 bang. The fist went berserk, smashing straight into Pan Shi's chest. His chest split, his ribs broken, while Pan Shi continuously spat out blood, as he was completely unable to withstand Long Fei's perverted attack. Bang! From mid-air to stage, in a few seconds, Long Fei had sent out tens of thousands of punches. Boom! Pan Shi smashed onto the ground. Both of Long Fei's fists exploded, and with Vajra possession in his body, the violent ape's fists smashed down heavily, smashing right into Pan Shi's head. It roared out in its heart, "Explode for me!" Crack! Rumble! The sound of power rumbled through the air, extremely violent. When the last bit of health point above Pan Shi's head fell to the bottom, his body spasmed a few times before becoming stiff. It was also at this time the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Pan Shi for obtaining 300 experience, 200 power of celestial, and 100 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Thin Pan Gu bloodline. Do you wish to fuse them? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Gold Shattering Fist. Do you wish to learn it? The system sounded out continuously. Thin Pan Gu bloodline. When Long Fei heard these words, his mind trembled, and he thought to himself, as expected, the Pan family is indeed a descendant of Pan Gu, and they actually have Pan Gu bloodline in their bodies. At first, he was only guessing. Now, the blood vein had already been revealed, so there was no doubt that the sky-separating clan's Pan family was a descendant of Pan Gu. The sparse Pan Gu bloodline have no interest. Killing this kind of disciple would result in the release of a Thin Pan Gu bloodline. What if it's that boss? The image of Pan Zhan appeared in Long Fei's mind. The golden light from his body stimulated his nerves. Wait! Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the shocked people below the stage. He looked at the disciples of the Pan family and coldly said, "Next!" Insolent to the point of being a complete mess. He had to torture and kill Pan Shi. Too fierce. Xiao Tianwu also did not expect that. His face was slightly pale. Yesterday, Pan Xian died, and Pan Zhan's fury was raging. Xiao Tianwu shouted, "Long Fei, the sparring is already over. Why do you want to kill?" Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "Principal Xiao, if I was killed, I'm afraid you wouldn't be this angry, right?" Humph. And then, Long Fei did not care about Xiao Tianwu at all and looked at the elite disciples of the Pan family and said, "Are you going to attack together or one at a time?" I think it would be best for all of you to attack together. Otherwise, you will die too quickly. His purpose for coming to the ranking tournament today was to kill. Nobody can stop him. Even if Zhang Tianai was here, she wouldn't be able to stop him. The tendons in Zhou Lian's arms and legs have been broken, and his brain was injured. He probably wouldn't be able to refine any more artifacts in this lifetime. And this was even worse than killing him. Since he liked to play, he might as well play it big. Moreover, what were the game's settings? First, he killed a small fry Luo, then he fought his way through, and finally he killed the boss. If he killed all these disciples of the Pan clan, would Pan Zhan be able to hold it in? Naturally, he had to make a move against him. At that time, Long Fei would disregard everything and kill him, because he wanted to reveal his Pan Gu bloodline, too much to say that he wanted to reveal his Pan Gu axe. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two figures flew up, and two swords struck at Xiang Long Fei. "Brat, give me your life. Give me your life." His figure was like lightning, his sword techniques had countless changes, and in a short moment he had sealed Long Fei. Sword art. All right, then let's start with the sword. Wong! When the devil sword landed in Long Fei's hand, the devil flame and the killing intent emitted by the killing thought fused together. Boom! A powerful sword intent burst out, and with a step, Long Fei rushed forward. The devil's sword flashed with a bright light, and a few cracks seemed to appear in the air. The two swords fell. The two heads landed on the ground. Long Fei pointed his sword, looked at the Pan family disciple, and said coldly, "Next." Crazy. Table of contents equals semi/floating life plus the scalps of the disciples and elders from the God Emperor Academy all went numb. More and more disciples rushed forward, but they were all killed by Long Fei. He was about to die, Long Fei thought. The boss should be coming out soon, right? In the second chapter, I'll update 2 chapters in the morning. In the afternoon, when I find the time, the sea will also update. The hospital has determined that it is pneumonia. The hospital is estimated to take a week. This time the update time may be very chaotic, sorry. 8_8419/2357072. One go and die. One go and die. In a group, one would still die. The more Long Fei killed, the fiercer he became. If you provoke me, I will kill you too. One by one, the disciples of the Pan clan were beheaded as a series of notifications sounded. The items that were dropped were all swallowed by the Yin Huang ancestor. Half an hour later, the 9 disciples of the Pan clan were all beheaded, and corpses littered both the stage and below. The dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands dripped with blood. With a sweep of the dragon blade, he roared out, "Fuck, I'm just asking. Who else is there?" Extreme arrogance. Just like an angry lion, anyone who offended him would die. Stunned, the elders from the God Emperor Academy were shocked, and the examinees were all shocked as well. They were shocked by the wild, killing intent coming from Long Fei and were shocked by his craziness as well. Is he even human? Madman, it must be a madman. This man must be crazy. I'll withdraw. I don't want to fight any ranking battles anymore. The Pan family of the sky separating clan. It could be said that no one dared to offend them. Even the principal of the God Emperor Academy, and the elders did not put them in their eyes. But so what? So what? Wasn't it all killed by Long Fei? Wasn't the Pan clan extremely powerful? Very arrogant? All of them were so high and mighty, still killed. However, what made Long Fei surprised was that the boss Pan Zhan did not appear. Not a single one of the Pan family elders appeared. This was something he could not understand. By all reasoning, once all of the minions were killed, it should be the boss' turn to come on stage. However, none of them appeared. Long Fei muttered in his heart, "Damn, why is there no boss?" However, Pan Zhan never thought that the Pan family would actually have over 90 disciples that were unable to handle a single Long Fei. What they did not expect was that Long Fei had actually killed all 99 disciples of the Pan clan, leaving not a single one alive. Who would have thought? How dare you attack the Pan clan at such a time? A weak Long Fei. Pan Zhan really did not place Long Fei in his eyes, but just because he did not put him in his eyes, Long Fei was overturning the heavens. At this moment, Xiao Tianwu was startled and shouted, "Long Fei, are you crazy?" His furious roar woke up everyone in martial arts arena, and also woke up Fu Xishan and the others who had rushed over to the place they had been standing for 20 minutes. Many people's faces were filled with fear and did not dare to look straight at Long Fei. Long Fei looked at Xiao Tianwu and said, "Principal Xiao, how am I crazy?" Xiao Tianwu shouted, "Do you know who they are? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know how many people you just killed? A person like you has no right to join the God Emperor Academy." The few elders were also exceptionally angry, because Long Fei was too cruel. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up into a faint smile. "Principal Xiao, it's you who said that there would inevitably be casualties during a fist and foot fight. It's just that all of them died due to bad luck." "You," Xiao Tianwu's gaze tensed up as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you had the protection of the previous headmaster. Let's see how you handle this matter. Brat, you have to know how to be arrogant. You're not being arrogant. You're courting death." Very angry. However, Xiao Tianwu was sneering in his heart. "Stupid brat. The people of Long family were all this retarded, yet they still wanted to rise? It's simply a joke. Sure, he killed so many Pan clan disciples today. The people from the Pan clan definitely won't let him off so easily. I won't have to do anything then. Long Fei grinned and said, Principal Xiao, I won't trouble you with your judgment on whether I'm arrogant or courting death. I only have one question now. Who the hell still wants to challenge me? Didn't you all laugh very happily just now? Come on up now. Principal Xiao shouted loudly. Impudent. Long Fei is in the God Emperor Academy's assessment grounds, not your South Horizon region. This place is not for you to decide. Now, as the principal of God Emperor Academy, I declare that you have been expelled from God Emperor Academy. You are no longer a student of God Emperor Academy. Xiao Tianwu expelled Long Fei from the God Emperor Academy, giving the Pan clan more opportunities. But at this moment, the sky darkened as an order was given. Who gave you the right? Buzz. A figure descended, wearing black robes with bloodshot eyes. The aura being emitted from his body was one that only Long Fei could sense. Killing intent. A thick killing intent. It was even stronger than the killing intent emitted by his killing thought by more than 10,000 times. Zhang Tianai, who was filled with killing intent. Long Fei secretly thought. Just what happened? What had made an uncle as stable as a mountain into such a violent and murderous person? What had happened? Long Fei thought back to the look in Pan Zhan's eyes when he left yesterday, and his heart sank. Could it be that the Pan clan has also taken action against the close relatives of the principal? Right. Long Fei immediately asked, Ancestor, can you feel Qiu Wandao's aura? Yin Huang Ancestor replied, No. Qiu Wandao had always been protecting him in secret, and would usually be in secret. However, he could not feel it right now, as Long Fei had a bad premonition in his heart. Qiu Wandao was in trouble. Xiao Tianwu's expression changed slightly as he looked at Zhang Tianai and said respectfully, Great Principal, Long Fei's massacre was too heavy. The 99 disciples of the Pan family were all killed by him, and even I am unable to stop him. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Zhang Tianai glared at the corpses around the stage and shouted, Good kill. As soon as his voice faded, the entire arena was shocked. The ruthless killing intent on his body was also released. Xiao Tianwu's mind shook violently and almost knelt down in fear. Seeing Zhang Tianya's expression, Long Fei was even more certain that something big had happened. The aura in Zhang Tianya's heart stirred, and he suddenly roared, Pan Zhan, get the hell out here. Ah. Rumble. The sound was so loud that it reached into the sky, and the sky instantly exploded. Rumble. Zhang Tianya's voice directly covered half of the God Emperor city and spread out like rolling thunder. He was furious, completely enraged. On the streets of God Emperor city, many people looked up at the sky and muttered, What happened? It came from the bottom of the divine Emperor Mountain. Who's being crazy? What a strong killing intent. God Emperor City, in a unique and elegant garden. Pan Zhan raised his eyes slightly, looked at the sky, and laughed disdainfully. This is what happens when you go against the Pan clan. Zhang Tianai? Humph, like a stray dog. It was also at this time. A disciple rushed into the courtyard in a panic. The first elder is in trouble. Baidu's sister-in-law, A half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system. Pan Zhan frowned. What's wrong? The disciple asked. Pan sure is dead? Pan Zhan's expression changed slightly as he asked. Dead? That disciple said, Not only him, all 99 of the Pan family's elite disciples have all died. All of them died by Long Fei's hands. Chapter 38_8419/2357073. If Pan Zhan was an explosive. If Pan Zhan was an explosive. So now he had been set on fire. All 99 of their elite disciples were killed. The anger on Pan Zhan's body started to burn up, and the surrounding vegetation started to wither rapidly. His strength was simply too terrifying. Then, the disciple kneeled on the ground and trembled. His entire body was twitching. The power of Celestial on his body was crazily being absorbed, and he said with difficulty, "Great clan elder, great clan elder, great clan elder. Pan roared angrily, and then flew into the sky. "Long Fei, you little bastard, today I will kill you." Whoosh! With a flash of light, he flew towards the foot of the Divine Emperor's mountain. At this moment, martial arts arena, Long Fei asked, "Great Principal, where is old Xiao? Have you seen him?" Zhang Tianai shook his head and said, "He's in a small cove in the middle of the God Emperor Mountain. Go look for him yourself." His heart was filled with grief, and he was unable to speak. As for how Qiu Wandao was feeling now, he did not care. He was just like how Long Fei was feeling this morning. He just wanted to kill him. Long Fei did not speak further, and immediately rushed out of the courtyard. "Boss, young Master Long, Man Tuoyuo, and the rest immediately chased after him. Old Qiu, don't let anything happen to him." The ominous premonition in Long Fei's heart grew stronger and stronger. He really did not have many friends in the immortal domain. Other than Fatty Chun, Man Tuoyuo, Xiao Ying, and Fu Shishan who were by his side, there was only Zhou Lian who still had him as his master. There was also Qiu Wandao who was protecting him in the dark, willing to die for him. When something happened to Zhou Lian, the Pan family was targeting Long Fei. However, if something happened to Zhang Tianai, then it would be terrible, and judging from his grief, it seemed like something big had happened to his family. Since he could make a move on Zhang Tianai, then he could make a move on Qiu Wandao. "Old Qiu, don't let anything happen to him." In the cove, Qiu Wandao leaned on the stairs and looked at the sky. His body was extremely weak. He could not even stand up. All the meridians in his body were shattered, and his cultivation was so low. Right now, he was even more of a trash than an ordinary person. As a martial artist, there was no point in living now. Not to mention, the reason he lived was to repay the grace that the Long family had shown him. Now that his cultivation was gone, he could no longer cultivate. There was no point in living on. "Old Ghost, the sunlight today is really good." The green-robed old man looked at the sky and laughed. His face was pale like Qiu Wandao's. "I don't know how many years it's been since I've seen the sun like this. It's so damn dazzling, haha." Qiu Wandao also laughed and said, "Old Luo, see you in your next life." "Ha, we'll definitely meet again in the next life." "In this life?" Sigh. The elder let out a long sigh and said, "It's just that we can't complete the mission that Master had given us." Qiu Wandao's expression dimmed and said, "Long family's little master will definitely succeed. He has an unswerving determination to stand out from the masses. He will definitely bring Long family to the peak of the world, and he will definitely find the dragon domain. The secret behind the disappearance of the dragon race, and the secret behind the disappearance of the strong warriors of Long family. I can also find him, but we won't be able to see him." The old man in green smiled. They really wanted to see the rise of the Long family, but now he could no longer see it. They didn't go to heal their wounds. They had healing pills on them, but they didn't use them because they wanted to die. Without power, being able to help Long Fei would only be a burden. He would be crazy for most of his life. He couldn't possibly be stepped on and unable to get up, right? They didn't want to. And then again, they felt that they were too weak and couldn't even deal with the elders of the Pan clan. They were still unable to protect young Master Long Fei. In that case, was there need to live? In their eyes, no. The two of them looked at the sky and laughed as they looked at the dazzling sun. "Oh, not here. It's not here either. Ancestor, did you sense it? There's no trace of their auras at all. If they were in the God Emperor Mountain with my current ability, I would have been able to sense them, but I couldn't sense any trace of their auras at all." Yin Huang Ancestor was very depressed. He was full of confidence in his soul remembrance. Only warriors, as long as his body emitted the aura of a warrior, the Yin Huang ancestor would be able to feel it. However, after half an hour, he still hadn't felt anything. The God Emperor Mountain was too big. There was a valley everywhere. Where was this small valley? Long Fei was going crazy. Old Xiao, where are you? Long Fei shouted loudly. In the woods. A few official disciples of the God Emperor Academy rushed out and shouted while looking at Long Fei. Who are you people? Make a ruckus here. Do you know where we are? Chen Tianfei shouted. I don't care where you are. Scram to the side. Humph. I think you're tired of living. A disciple opened his eyes wide. A mere spiritual level dares to be so impudent here. At this moment, Long Fei's figure moved, and the golden dragon in his hand exploded. He immediately pulled the collar of the disciple who had just spoken and asked solemnly, Do you know where Qiu Wandao lives? Don't talk nonsense with Laozi. Long Fei's eyes were incomparably terrifying, and that official disciple almost peed his pants in fright. He had never seen such a terrifying gaze in his entire life, and tremblingly said, as soon as his voice fell, Long Fei had already disappeared. At this time, Chen Tianfei followed behind. That disciple sat paralyzed on the ground, unable to recover from the shock. It was too terrifying. There's a small courtyard ahead. Man, Tuoyuo pointed to the front and shouted. And then, Long Fei ran frantically, rushing into the courtyard, only to see Qiu Wandao and another old man dying. The courtyard was in a mess. Their bodies were full of injuries. Long Fei's heart immediately sank. He rushed forward and said, Old Qiu. The expression in Qiu Wandao's eyes slightly moved, and he looked at Long Fei with a light smile. Young master, why have you come? The old man's voice became heavy. All the meridians in their bodies have been broken, and their cultivation bases are intact. Their power has dissipated, and they will never recover. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Long Fei gritted his teeth and roared furiously in his heart. Pan family, fuck your ancestors. At the same time, rumble. The martial arts arena S of the assessment department let out a loud sound. A figure dropped from the sky and bellowed. Long Fei, you little bastard, get out here to die. He was furious, and his killing intent was dense. Equals half carat float, hashtag life carat looking at the Pan clan disciples' corpses that surrounded the stage. Pan Zhan was even more furious. However, right at this moment, the killing intent of the other person immediately ignited, exploding out like a bomb. Zhang Tianai stared at Pan Zhan and said sinisterly, Pan Zhan. Chapter 4. Today, there should be only 4 chapters. In addition to the 2 chapters one owed you yesterday, I owe a total of 3 chapters to Haiyang. I'll keep that in my notebook. 8_8419/23577074. Anger was burning. Anger was burning. Killing intent burned. Zhang Tianai let out a furious roar as all the strength in his body exploded outwards, and he pounced forward like a mad wolf. Savage. Killing intent soared to the heavens. Everyone was shocked. What had happened to the headmaster? Normally, no matter how big of a matter he encountered, he would not be this angry. What was going on with him? No one knew. The elders of the God Emperor Academy were all at a loss, unable to react. The other examinees followed suit. They were forced to retreat by the powerful aura. Pan Zhan turned his head and looked at Zhang Tianai, who was pouncing towards him. His expression turned sinister as he shouted, Zhang Tianai, die for me. With a wave of his right hand, a huge axe appeared in his palm. The moment Zhang Tianai landed, he swung the axe in his hand, slashing it down. Crash! With a loud sound, the sky trembled and space distorted. Pangu axe, the ancient holy artifact of the Tianwu continent. Heavens, the power of this axe is too great. The surrounding examinees could not withstand the impact of this kind of force and were flipped over. They lay prostrate on the ground as their skin moved, and their mind felt as if it would explode at any time. It was extremely uncomfortable. Zhang Tianya's eyes turned sinister. He did not dodge, and instead rushed forward even more fiercely. He was ready to throw caution to the wind. No matter what, he wanted to take revenge for his family. At the same time, the Pangu axe released its powerful energy. In a secret room in the outer space palace, Pan Sheng's eyes suddenly opened. The Pangu sword beside him began to tremble. The sword could feel the fluctuations of the Pangu axe's power. The stronger it became, the more it trembled. Did something happen to the Pan family? Pan Sheng's heart tensed. At this time, he could not care about cultivating and immediately flew out. The heavenly hall of immortals. Many clan elders felt that it was a hall of immortals. What happened? Why are there such powerful energy waves? What happened to the God Emperor Academy? When two strong warriors fight, these two are at least golden immortal rank. Outer Space Palace also felt the battle between the two golden immortal experts. There were not many experts in the Sky Martial continent that had reached the golden immortal rank. If they were to fight with all their might, their energy undulations would spread out to millions of kilometers, and the experts of Outer Space Palace would naturally be able to sense it in an instant. At this moment, Supreme God landed on top of Hall of Immortals and asked gently, "Has Star's spirit messenger returned yet?" "Report." A stream of light flashed down and said, "Reporting to Supreme God, it is the fight between the Pan clan's great elder Panjan and the God Emperor Academy's principal Zhang Tianai, in a fight to the death." "Huh?" Supreme God frowned. "How did the two of them start fighting? Still a battle to the death. What happened?" The Star Spirit Messenger replied, "This subordinate has not found anything yet. However, looking at how furious the two of them are, there should be a huge amount of hatred between them." The clan elders of the Hall of Immortals started to discuss softly. "This Zhang Tianai doesn't know how to react. He's the principal of the God Emperor Academy. Why did he start fighting with the Pan family? Is it also for the assessment? Just what exactly is going on with this year's God Emperor Academy assessment?" "Supreme God, they are golden immortal realm experts. If we keep fighting, the God Emperor city will be destroyed. We have to go and stop them." It was also at this time Pan Sheng walked into the hall and knelt down. Disciple greets master. The center of Supreme God's brows twitched as he looked at Pan Sheng and asked, "Why did you come out? Didn't I ask you to go into seclusion to cultivate?" Pan Sheng did not know about what had happened in such a short period of time. Pan Sheng said, "I sense the energy fluctuation of the Pan family holy artifact, so I came to ask if you would allow me. I wish to go down to take a look." He wanted to see who dared to oppose the Pan clan. He wanted to crush him to death. Supreme God did not answer immediately. Even though Supreme God didn't know why Zhang Tianai and Pan Zhan were fighting, but he was sure that this matter was related to Long Fei. Something must not happen to Long Fei. At the very least, until he finds the dragon domain, nothing can happen to him. The Supreme God tensed up. Only the people from the Long family could find the dragon race. This was a prophecy passed down by their ancestors. There was no mistake. Long Zhanning failed. The only person from the immortal domain was Long Fei. Moreover, Long Fei had condensed a Dao heart and was incomparably resolute. Long Fei was the last trace of hope in the Dragon Clan's secret treasure. It was his hope and also his master's hope. If he wanted to pursue the highest level and break through the shackles of the Dragon Clan, then he must obtain the secret treasure of the Dragon Clan. Long Fei cannot die. So did the Pan family. Pan Sheng was a demon slayer. He needed to borrow the Pan family's power to deal with the giant demons. In addition, Long Fei had to be suppressed by the Pan family, and only all sorts of difficulties could allow a person to break through quickly. Thus, the Pan clan, Long Fei, needed balance. Thinking of this, Supreme God raised his eyes and said faintly, "I'll go with you." In another place, inside Xiao Wandao's courtyard. "Ancestor, do you have a way?" Long Fei asked. Xiao Wandao and the old man's injuries were heavy, and the injuries on their bodies were easy to deal with. The key issue was whether or not their cultivation could recover. Yin Huang ancestor slightly said, "There's indeed a way to do it, but I'm afraid that they won't be able to endure that kind of pain." Breaking and then erecting? Hope ignited in Long Fei's heart, and he immediately said, Letting them live like this is worse than dying. They definitely can. And then, Long Fei walked to Qiu Wandao's side and said, Old Qiu, I have a way to help you recover your cultivation, but this is extremely painful. Can you guys withstand it? The two of them were instantly dumbfounded. Qiu Wandao looked at Long Fei and said, You have a way? Impossible. This is impossible. Our veins have shattered and our cultivation has completely dissipated. There is no longer any way to recover it. He was the principal of the God Emperor Academy. If he had a way, he wouldn't want to die. Seeing the look in Long Fei's eyes, Qiu Wandao faintly said, Long Fei, you don't have to comfort us. We are already crippled. It would be better to die than to live. Long Fei said, Old Qiu, I really didn't lie to you. I really have a way. Who is the Yin Huang ancestor? He was an expert of the Chaos realm, and he had more knowledge than Qiu Wandao. Nothing, Fatty Chun said anxiously. If boss says so, so be it. He definitely won't lie to you guys. If you can't recover by then, it won't be too late for you to die. Xiaoying stared at him and said, What are you saying? Qiu Wandao and the old man looked at each other, took a deep breath, and said, All right, let's begin. Long Fei also said to the Yin Huang ancestor, Ancestor, let's begin. The Yin Huang ancestor said, It's still not enough. We still need a few more things to do. Their tendons have all been broken, so we must reconnect them first. Baidu's search, half afloat at this moment. A loud sound echoed in the sky. The Yin Huang ancestor trembled and said, The aura of the Pan Gu axe. Long Fei raised his eyes. Has the boss appeared yet? Chapter 18_8419/2357075. F***CK. F***CK. What's the point of living alive if we don't kill the boss? Long Fei cursed in his heart. Immediately, Long Fei said to Man Toal Yuo and Fatty Chun, You three, stand guard here. Remember, you must not let anything happen to them. He was worried that Qiu Wandao would live a peaceful life after he left. Since the ancestor said there was a way to save them, then there must be a way. The Yin Huang ancestor wouldn't lie to him, and there was no need to lie to him. Man Toal Yuo immediately asked, Where are you going? Long Fei smirked and said, I'm going to do something important. Wait for me here. As soon as he finished, whoosh, Long Fei ran frantically. Qiu Wandao looked at the sky and continuously buzzed. Such a powerful aura. I am afraid two strong warriors are fighting, right? The elder in Cyan spoke up. You don't have to worry about it now. There is no point in worrying about it. We're just trash now. There is nothing we can do. Qiu Wandao saw Long Fei's assured disappearance and muttered to himself, It would be great if Master came out from closed-door cultivation. The old man's eyebrows twitched. In his heart, he hoped that Master would come out, because if that happened, the Pan clan would not be able to bully Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The two powerful forces continued to collide and repel each other, as if destroying the heavens and the earth. The power of the Golden Immortal rank was just too strong. In addition, the destructive power of the fusion with the Immortal Foundation was extremely strong. The examination hall at the foot of the mountain was already in a complete mess as countless towering trees were uprooted from the ground. The elders of the God Emperor Academy continued to retreat explosively. The examinees had already retreated several dozen kilometers, but even so, they still could not withstand the pressure. Zhang Tianai risked his life. Pan Zhan was the same as well. He could not contain his anger over the death of the Pan family's elite disciple. As Pan family secret base, it's the aura of a Pan Gu axe. The great clan elder is fighting with an expert in the direction of the divine Emperor's mountain. All disciples of the Pan clan, listen up. All of you go support them. I'll go call the highest elder. Half of God Emperor City was enveloped by this powerful battle aura, and the people of God Emperor City were all looking up at the sky. The battle between the experts of the Golden Immortal rank was like the end of the world. The experts of the Pan family rushed into the sky in streaks of light. There were also many clan elders of the God Emperor Academy who flew down the mountain. All of a sudden, all the rankers in God Emperor City were caught up in it. 10 minutes. The first batch of elders arrived. To dare oppose the Pan clan, Zhang Ti and I, you must be tired of living. Kill. Boom, boom. Several Pan clan elders rushed forward in a flash, surrounding and attacking Zhang Ti and I. Originally, Zhang Ti and I was angry in his heart and barely managed to tie with Pan Zhan. However, now that there were two more elders of the Golden Immortal rank, he was instantly at a disadvantage. Bam! After being hit on the back, Zhang Ti and I spat out a mouthful of blood and his body sank down as well. At this moment, the back of the Pan Gu axe in Pan Zhan's hand swept over, schwa. It directly struck Zhang Tianya's waist. Crack! The defense of the air shield on his body shattered, as well as his ribs were broken. His body was also sent flying out, smashing 3 towering trees into pieces consecutively as his body heavily smashed into the ground. Cough, cough. Blood gushed out of Zhang Tianya's mouth as the anger in his eyes did not decrease in the slightest. His killing intent did not decrease in the slightest as he clenched his fist. A few elders from the God Emperor Academy all flew over and asked, "Elder Pan, is there a misunderstanding here? Stop fighting." They stopped him a little. However, Pan Zhan suddenly roared. He glared and bellowed, "If you dare to stop me, you will be going against my Pan clan. If you go against my Pan clan, there will only be one outcome for you. That is die." With that said, Pan Zhan stared coldly at them and asked, "Do you want to go against my Pan clan?" The few clan elders' expressions turned cold. Looking at Pan Zhan, their hearts trembled as they said, "We do not wish to go against the Pan clan, but we hope that you can." Not waiting for him to finish, the Pan Gu axe in Pan Zhan's hands moved, and a powerful force immediately forced them to retreat. It shouted, "If you don't want to die, then scram to the side." Then, the heaven-splitting axe pointed at Zhang Ti and I, who was in the distance, and said, "Zhang Ti and I, you truly take yourself seriously in my eyes. You are nothing. Kill them all." 2 more Pan clan elders flew into the air and joined the encirclement. Blood gushed out from the wound on Zhang Tianya's waist, and he continuously spat out blood. He looked at Pan Zhan and roared angrily, "I will be irreconcilable with your Pan clan. Come on." Whoosh! Zhang Ti and I rushed forward with an extremely fast speed. Pan Zhan laughed coldly and said, "You are irreconcilable with my Pan family? Zhang Ti and I, who do you think you are? You don't even have the qualifications to fight against me. Go to hell." The 5 elders rushed forward together. The faces of the elders from the God Emperor Academy sunk. None of them dared to go forward to stop them, much less make an enemy out of the Pan clan because they were afraid. Because the Pan family was simply too powerful. They were scared to death. Zhang Ti and I had been the principal for many years, and among these elders and principals, some were because of him. Some were even his disciples, but no one dared to step forward. No one dared. Facing the combined attacks of 5 clan elders, they all knew clearly in their hearts that Zhang Ti and I was definitely going to die. From the moment Zhang Ti and I attacked Pan Zhan, he never thought of living. His wife, his daughter, son, and his old mother were all dead. All his loved ones were dead. What was the point of him living? Zhang Ti and I rushed forward and roared, "Come!" The 5 of them descended, throwing their attacks at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. 5 loud bangs. High up in the air, Zhang Ti and I was struck down heavily, smashing onto the ground. A deep crater formed on the ground as Zhang Tianya's entire body felt like it was splitting apart, feeling incomparable discomfort. Looking at the high and mighty Pan Zhan in the sky, Zhang Tianya's heart was in a state of deathly stillness. Mother is sorry. Fong is sorry. Yun Yun, I am sorry. I am the useless one. I cannot avenge all of you. I am sorry. Daddy will be coming down soon to accompany you. There was no more power in his body. He could no longer fight back. Pan Zhan laughed coldly. You can't even take a single blow. How can a trash like you be qualified to be the principal of the God Emperor Academy? Ha ha. Trash. Die. Equals half carrot float hashtag health dash / With a shout, the Pangu axe slashed down, and an incomparably strong force came crushing down. Zhang Tianai closed his eyes and smiled. I'm here. It was also at this time. A figure rushed out from the forest and stood beside Zhang Tianai. With his right hand extended out, the dragon Salyer descended and roared in his heart. Ancestor of dark dragon god, borrow some strength. Chapter 28_8419/2357076. Boom, 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 boom. Inside the dragon Salyer, ancestor of dark dragon gods, eyes slightly opened as he released his strong dragon power. The dragon Salyer began to tremble. At this time, Long Fei's arms moved, and the power of the metal dragon was released. Pan Zhan looked at Long Fei, who had suddenly appeared, and his anger surged. Bastard, you go and die too. The Pangu axe's strength became even more powerful. With a Chi La sound, the sky seemed to have been cut open. The power on the axe transformed into a huge half-moon beheader as it slashed down. Zhang Tianai looked at Long Fei and said, Brat, quickly get out of the way. Long Fei held onto the dragon Salyer tightly with both hands and watched the Pangu axe that was chopping down from the sky. Ah! Long Fei roared out. The sound of his roar grew stronger and stronger, more and more berserk, and finally, he roared, killing God Chop. He raised the saber with both hands and met the blow head-on. Roar! Roar! A gigantic dragon roar sounded out in the air, and the image of a dark dragon god rushed out, facing the ancient holy artifact of the sky martial continent and letting out a furious roar. The sinister dark dragon god stared deadly at Pan Zhan with his two huge eyes. Too terrifying, too ferocious. Pan Zhan's mind was trembling, and his body was also trembling. His two eyes glared at him. So what if you're a dragon? The current sky separating clan can't stop anyone. Die! Rumble! He increased his strength by another level and slashed downwards. The killing God Chop-s that were released from the dragon Salyer also rushed forward. The moment the two powers interweaved, the sky suddenly darkened. It was as if all the light had been absorbed, and finally, the space split open as a strong light shot out. Rumble! 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 The energy shock waves exploded like a nuclear bomb, shooting out one after another. All the trees within 1,000 meters radius were cut off at the waist, forming a powerful hurricane that swept out. Too powerful. Pan Zhan consecutively retreated in midair, the blood and chi in his chest tumbling. His right hand had been cut open and blood was dripping down. He couldn't bear it. His heart sank as well. The spiritual level has such a powerful strength. This brat must not be allowed to live. The Long family of the past was too powerful. To Sky's separating clan, the Long family was like a nightmare that lingered within his mind. Give Long family back all the bullying from 1,000,000 years ago, ton after ton, and return it back to him multiple times. He thought that since Long family had been reduced to a useless family, they wouldn't be a threat to him at all. He was wrong. Even if he was the last person left in the Long family, he could not be underestimated. The power that Long Fei had released was too terrifying. He must die. Pan Zhan forcefully suppressed the raging chi in his body. The idea moved and shouted, Kill him. No matter the cost, we must kill him. We cannot let him escape. Killing intent surged within his heart. Pan Zhan would not give Long Fei even the slightest of chances. He had to kill him. The four of them moved at the same time and surrounded him. It could be said that Long Fei used all of his strength, and adding the power of Ancestor of Dark Dragon God and the power of Golden Dragon Master. Only then did he use his level of strength. Even so, he was still unable to kill Pan Zhan. The cultivation of the Golden Immortal rank was truly too strong. An unshakable power. Pan Zhan's blood was boiling, but not a single injury appeared on his head. It was just a single move, but Long Fei himself was shaken to the point that he could not even stand straight. The health point instantly dropped to the ground. If not for the protection of the golden dragon, the sea of consciousness would have split apart long ago. It was very hard. Long Fei looked at Pan Zhan and the glaring light on his body. He was not afraid, but on the contrary, he was excited because the stronger the boss, the higher his drop rate. Looking at the Pangu axe in Pan Zhan's hands, Long Fei said, "It's mine, it's definitely mine." Huff, huff. Long Fei took 2 deep breaths as his mind calmed down. Yin Huang ancestor said, "You are not their match." Zhang Ti and I anxiously shouted, "Long Fei, run faster, don't die for me, hurry, they will kill you." He couldn't even deal with a single golden immortal ranker, and now, with the 5 of them fighting him together, he definitely couldn't. Pan Zhan sneered sinisterly. "Fleeing? Flee to hell. Back then the Long family crushed my Pan clan. Today, I will personally send you to hell." Ha! Pan Zhan looked at Long Fei, who was standing motionlessly on the ground, and laughed maniacally. "Do you know what crime Long family committed in the past? We should not have allowed our Pan clan ancestors to live. We would never have committed such a mistake. If we're going to cut the grass, we must eliminate the roots. Kid, die." Pan Zhan waved the heaven-splitting axe in his hand and shouted, "Pangu's war art, sky-splitting strike." Crack! With a slight movement of power, the sky seemed to split open. A wave of energy linked itself to the Pangu axe and produced a dull sound. Power that linked the heavens and the earth. The Pangu axe was able to absorb the energy of heaven and earth. So this was the power of the ancient holy artifact. It absorbed the energy from far, far away, causing Pan Zhan's clothes to flutter as he looked at Long Fei, who was on the ground. "Long family, I'll begin from you." Shwa! He slashed with his right hand. Boom! The heaven-shaking power of the slash came crashing down. At the same time, Long Fei moved. "Old demon, how are your preparations?" The corner of the gravity troll's mouth curled up into a dark smile and said, "Master, I can't endure my thirst. The Pangu axe is really something that can make people excited." Long Fei raised his eyes slightly. At this moment, Yin Huang ancestor and Zhang Tianai continuously urged Long Fei to flee. Long Fei acted as if he did not hear it, and excitedly laughed. "The Pan family? Boss! Ha!" Long Fei's eyes darkened as he roared towards the sky. "Explode for me, old devil gravity." The idea moved, and the broken 18 levels of hell started to shake. The gravity troll slowly stood up and had already broken more than 800 seal chains on its body. It was incomparably fierce. Long Fei roared, "Give me." Pan Zhan also roared, "Cut." At this moment, before the gravity troll could charge out, a power flashed and fell. Buzz! A loud sound echoed out. Immediately after, the energy released by the Pangu axe disintegrated, not a single bit remaining. It was as though it had disappeared in an instant. The power was too strong. At this moment, 36O search. Half floating // equals. Long Fei looked at the sky and saw a figure. Supreme God. With one move, Pan Zhan's power was defeated. Long Fei's mind boiled. This is too damn strong. Chapter 38_8419/2357077. The Supreme God was very strong. The Supreme God was very strong. Long Fei was very clear. Yin Huang ancestor had said that Long Fei's entire strength, when added together, was not his match. However, that was just an idea, and Long Fei did not put it to heart. Now, Long Fei finally understood how strong the Supreme God was. With just a casual wave of force, Pan Zhan, who was holding onto the ancient holy artifact, was defeated. Long Fei was shocked. Isn't he still the strongest in the outer space palace? How strong are the old monsters that are the strongest in the outer space palace? Holy sh*t. Why am I suddenly so excited? Every cell of his was dancing like an elite, indescribably excited. Because Long Fei's heart became fervent. If we could blow them up. Wakaka, my little heart can't take it anymore. At this moment, Panjan was enraged. He did not even bother to look at the person in the sky as he arrogantly howled. Who dares to stop me? I'll kill him. Supreme God opened his eyes and said indifferently, "Oh." With this soft sound, Panjan suddenly lost his balance in midair and fell to the ground. The other 4 Pan family elders also instantly fell from a stage. Bang, bang, bang. 5 sounds consecutively rang out, and on the ground, it was like a bomb had exploded, forming 5 deep craters. Panjan could not take it any longer and vomited a mouthful of blood. Long Fei looked through the system. Damn, a critical hit of over 3 million damage. Strong, strong, too strong. He saw a damaged figure of over 3 million floating above Panjan's head. At the same time, Long Fei also saw the amount of blood on Panjan's head, and his heart tightened. Mother * King 30 million HP. He felt a sense of lingering fear. There was a time limit for the gravity troll to appear. If he had forcefully released the gravity troll just now, would he be able to kill Panjan within the time limit? He didn't know. However, he knew that if he couldn't kill it, the result would be his death. Huff! Long Fei exhaled lightly and said to himself, "Looks like I must not be hot-headed next time." When he said this, Long Fei's eyes were looking at the Supreme God. Compared to Panjan, Long Fei wanted to explode with Supreme God more. Compared to the Supreme God, Panjan was extremely weak. However, Long Fei knew clearly in his heart that he could not do it right now, and he was not his opponent at all. He needed to level up, and the Dragon Salyer would need to be upgraded so that they could obtain even more power, and only by continuously leveling up would he be able to continuously obtain more power. Only then would he be able to awaken the power in his body and increase the strength of Golden Dragon Master, Blood Dragon Ancestor, and Black Dragon Ancestor to the peak realm. Everything had to be upgraded. Panjan's mouth was bleeding as he looked at Supreme God slowly falling from the sky. His heart sank. No matter how foolish he was, he knew who Supreme God was. His strength was incomparable. The arrogant aura slightly receded. Panjan replied respectfully, "Supreme God." At this moment, Pansheng also quickly walked over and looked at Panjan. "Great Elder, what exactly happened? Why did you use a Pangu axe?" Panjan said, "All 100 of the Pan family's elite disciples have died in this brat's hands. Today, no matter what, I will kill him." Panjan stared deadly at Long Fei. Pansheng looked at Xiang Long Fei, his eyes narrowing. Releasing a cold, killing intent, he said, "Seems like last time at Thunder Mountains was not enough to teach you a lesson." As Pansheng was speaking, he moved, releasing the qi from his body. Compared to when he was in the Thunder Mountains, the aura on Pansheng's body had become even thicker and stronger. In just half a month, he broke through. Last time, he was defeated by a single strike from Pansheng. Because his cultivation was even more so because of the power of the ancient holy artifact in his hand. This time, Pansheng wanted to step on Long Fei again. However, half a month ago, Long Fei was only in the immortal realm, and the current Long Fei was already in the spiritual levy 6. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "If you have the guts, come at me." Pansheng grinned. "You're courting death." Chua! As the Pangu sword in his hand fell, the shocking sword spirit scattered and completely crushed Xiang Long Fei. Great sword intent. Long Fei frowned. He cursed in his heart. "Fuck, am I afraid of you?" The fairy stone root crazily released the power of Celestial. Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Rank 5, unparalleled." However, without waiting for him to make a move, Pansheng's body sank and retreated explosively. He was sucked back by a powerful force. Supreme God's voice was slightly angry and said, "Do you still have my existence in your eyes?" Huh. The sound suddenly increased, and a series of berserk sounds resounded in the air. Pansheng's state of mind immediately sank as his sea of consciousness began to churn. It was incomparably uncomfortable, and his entire body instantly bent down as he said, "I'm sorry." Panjan also frowned and thought, "Looks like Supreme God's power is much stronger than we expected, and more so. He seems to be standing by the Long family's side." If that's the case. The corner of Panjan's eyes twitched a few times as he looked at Long Fei. In his heart, Long Fei should die even more. Panjan took a step forward and said, "Supreme God, Long Fei recklessly kills the innocent, has a heart of a demon. He killed 100 of my Pan clan's elite disciples. According to the laws of the God Emperor Academy, he should be executed." At this moment, Zhang Ti and I crawled out of the deep pit and roared deeply. "Panjan, you used the Pan clan elders to kill my entire clan. How can this be counted?" Supreme God's expression slightly darkened as he looked at the fury in Zhang Tianya's eyes. No wonder he was so angry. However, Panjan sneered and said, "Zhang Tianai, tell me, do you have any evidence for my Pan clan killing your entire clan? If there is no evidence, then it is slander." Zhang Tianai said, "Evidence, huh? Panjan, do you dare to not admit it? I thought that your sky-separating clan was fair and square, but I didn't expect him to be such a sinister person. You can forget about it for the rest of your life." He really had no evidence. However, he knew that the Pan family must have done it. Panjan raged and shouted, "Zhang Tianai, try it again." Zhang Tianai could even disregard his life, so he sneered. "So what if you say it 10 times? Your Pan clan will never be able to become the first clan. Not in the past, not now, not in the future." "Enough!" Supreme God's voice darkened as a powerful force overwhelmed Zhang Tianya's voice and asked, "Panjan, you really sent people to kill Zhang Tianya's family members?" Panjan instantly denied and said no. The Supreme God looked at Long Fei and said, "You killed the Pan family's 100 examination disciples." Long Fei said, "Kill them. It's very easy. They're all just trash. If you dare to do it, you will recognize it, and you will not want some shameful things." Panjan clenched his fists tightly. Floating life. Table of contents. No windows. A++ Pan Sheng and the elders of the Pan clan were the same. Each and every one of the disciples in the Pan clan were all elite disciples of the Pan clan, and were all the flesh and blood of the Pan clan. However, what Long Fei had said had undoubtedly added oil to their anger, causing them to become even more furious. Incomparable Rage. Chapter 48_8419/2357078. It was simply slapping your Pan family in the face. It was simply slapping your Pan family in the face. Slap your face and call you trash. Competent? Counterattack. Everyone from the Pan clan was burning with rage. However, no one dared to retaliate, because it was because of the Supreme God. If they dared to move recklessly, Supreme God would definitely take action. In Panjan's heart, Supreme God and Long Fei were in cahoots. And in Long Fei's heart, Supreme God was a treacherous, despicable, and shameless big boss. From the looks of it, if Supreme God didn't move, he was definitely hiding something. Just what does he want from me? What is it? What do I have on me? No, it shouldn't be anything I possess. It should be something he wants me to do, or something else. Long Fei couldn't understand. However, he was sure that the Supreme God would protect him now. Even if all the people from the Pan family were to attack him, the Supreme God would ensure that he would not die. Since that was the case, why not use him first? Long Fei looked at Pan Sheng and laughed. "Aren't you being a little arrogant in the beginning? Come again. What's more King Kaki? Aren't you sky-separating clan arrogant and despotic? Let's try again. Let me try." Giggle. Hee. Crackle. The air was filled with the thick smell of gunpowder. Panjan almost wanted to swallow Long Fei up. Long Fei laughed disdainfully. "You don't dare? If you don't dare, then hurry up and let Lousy off to the side." What T sky separating clan? What a disgrace. He ruthlessly stepped on it, stepping on your face to slap it. And he even hit it loudly. Is that good? Supreme God sneered in his heart, coughed once, and shouted, "Long Fei, enough!" Pan Zhan immediately said, "Supreme God, he is so arrogant in front of you. Just now, he admitted to killing 100 of my Pan clan disciples. Admit it yourself. If you do not punish me, then I, Pan Zhan, will not accept it." While they were talking, Pan Sheng also stood out and said, "Master, Pan Sheng is also unwilling to accept this. We can't accept this." The Pan family elders shouted in unison. Zhang Tianai said, "The Pan clan disciples are not as skilled as the others. They are all challenging Long Fei to death in the arena. Long Fei did not break any law." Long Fei laughed. "Great principle. Don't say it. You are making them feel awkward. Sky Separating Clan is so powerful. All of them are geniuses. If we add all of them together, they can't even beat me. You all still refuse to accept this?" Long Fei laughed contemptuously. "If I were you guys, I would have just killed myself with a piece of tofu. I'm so ashamed of you." Pan Zhan's face turned red. His head almost stood up. He was completely humiliated by Long Fei. Indeed, the 100 elite disciples could not even defeat Long Fei. How could they have the face to complain? You still have a nerve to say that you don't accept it. Let's find a hole and hide in it. Supreme God's eyes turned, and he stared at Xiao Tianwu. Is that so? Xiao Tianwu was also unsure if Supreme God was actually standing there, and did not dare to speak carelessly, and said, "Reporting to Supreme God, we are indeed sparring on the stage. I also." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Supreme God said, "Since it's a match in the arena, then we cannot recklessly kill innocent people." Long Fei, Supreme God's eyes darkened as he shouted, "Since you are too ruthless and caused unnecessary death, I sentence you to not enter any college of martial arts training to learn and become a logistical disciple. Do you accept punishment?" Everyone in the Pan family was shocked, and Pan Zhan became even angrier. "This punishment?" Long Fei shrugged his shoulders. "Whatever you say is what it is." To Long Fei, it was fine as long as he could enter the God Emperor Academy. It was just as Yi had said, the God Emperor Academy had a large number of secret history books, and if he wanted to find the Dragon Domain and the disappeared dragon race, the hidden martial pavilion would definitely be able to find some clues. Even if he couldn't find any clues regarding the Dragon Domain, he could still find the Sea Dragon King's location. He still had Heart of Dragon Domain S on him, so he needed the blood essence of Sea Dragon King to open the second layer. Thus, Long Fei did not wish to learn anything after entering the God Emperor Academy, but wanted to find clues regarding the dragon race. Whether or not he could enter the 18 generations of college of martial arts training was not important to him at all. Supreme God looked at Zhang Tianai and said, "Zhang Tianai, as the principal, you failed to control the disciples and caused a riot, causing the disciples' deaths. We will now remove you from your position as the principal and serve as a second-rate elder. Do you accept punishment?" Zhang Tianai slightly said, "Accept your punishment." If that was the case, he would no longer have to protect the God Emperor Academy, and he would be able to roam the world. However, the hatred in his heart did not disappear. He could no longer break through in the God Emperor Academy, nor would he be able to take revenge in the God Emperor Academy in his entire life. And then, the Supreme God's gaze darkened as he stared at Pan Zhan, and said slightly, "The Pan clan disregards discipline, publicly trampling the God Emperor Academy's elders, barging into the examination grounds and attacking the headmaster, and even severely injuring him. Pan Zhan, as the great clan elder of the Pan clan, you cannot use your body to set an example. Now, I punish your Pan family to prevent any disciples from participating in the God Emperor Academy's assessment within 3 years. All members of your Pan family are not allowed to step even half a step into the God Emperor Academy." Supreme God's eyes turned sinister. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Although he was unwilling, Pan Zhan could only nod his head and agree. God Emperor Academy, the Tianwu continent's #1 academy. He wanted to borrow the cultivation resources of the #1 academy to train his Pan clan's disciples. But if he wasn't allowed to enter the God Emperor Academy for 3 years, then his plans would be stranded as well. From Supreme God's eyes, Pan Zhan could see the killing intent. The meaning behind Supreme God's words was very clear. The Pan family was not allowed to touch Long Fei within 3 years. Otherwise, the consequences would be disastrous. Supreme God looked at Pan Sheng and said gently, "You are now a demon slayer. Your priority right now is to cultivate and break through. In the future, you will need to defend against the giant demon's invasion and not waste your energy on such trivial things, understand? You are punished to go into closed-door cultivation for 3 years, and not to leave the outer space palace for 3 years." Pan Sheng did not dare disobey, and nodded. "Disciple will do as you say." Supreme God looked at Long Fei as he said in his heart, "Kid, you have 3 years. If you can't find the Dragon region and the Dragon clan within 3 years, you are of no use at all. When the time comes, even if the Abacus family doesn't touch you, you will still die." His master's lifespan was less than 5 years. If he couldn't find the Dragon clan's secret treasure, he would die of old age. If so, this meant that Long Fei was not the person in the prophecy. There was no use in keeping him. He would get rid of him the same way he did with Long Zhanting previously. Long Fei felt the Supreme God's gaze and once again asked himself in his heart, "What exactly is it? What exactly is it that he likes on my body? What exactly is the Supreme God hiding? What is the outer space palace hiding?" Baidu's sister-in-law, AA half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system. Where is the Dragon territory? Why did my ancestor of the Long family disappear? Long Fei asked himself unceasingly in his heart. He secretly clenched his fists and said to himself, "Just you wait. I will definitely solve all of these mysteries." Chapter 5. Today, my daughter had finally retired and her condition had stabilized. She would need to stay in hospital for a few more days to observe the situation. In the afternoon, I have time to write 5 chapters. 8_83577079. In the end, Long Fei had played a fool in front of the God Emperor Academy's assessment. In the end, Long Fei had played a fool in front of the God Emperor Academy's assessment. However, he also had to pay the price. God Emperor Academy were separated into 18 generations of College of Martial Arts training, and he was not allowed to enter nor be taken in by any principal or instructor. He became one of the lowest-level janitorial disciples in the God Emperor Academy. His status was low. Everyone laughed at him, but he didn't care. Before coming to the God Emperor Academy, he already knew that he wasn't here to learn anything, but to look for something. With the striking system, he did not need to learn anything. Upgrade? What he wanted was not comprehension, but experience. Battle skill? What he wanted was not to be taught, but to be taught by the proficiency. Thus, the people from the God Emperor Academy were far above him. They were unfathomable elders. Since his teacher couldn't teach him anything, there was no need for him to learn anything. Of course, this was only Long Fei's unilateral thought. He did not enter the College of Martial Arts training, but Fatty and the others had entered the College of Martial Arts training that they wanted to enter. Chen Tianfei entered the Profound College of Martial Arts training. They focused on defense and the body. Their philosophy was that defense allowed one to be invincible. With a strong physical body, one would be able to block all attacks, create opportunities for your teammates. The most common point was the tank in the game, the meat shield. The immortal foundation Fatty fused with was the holy armor Fairy Vein. He was a natural-born meat shield, the king of defense. However, the principal who entered the Profound College of Martial Arts training was Xiao Tianwu. The reason why Xiao Ying was invaded by the College of War Martial Arts was due to her terrifying explosive power. If the violent immortal root were to unleash it, the power would be extremely terrifying. For example, Xiao Ying, who was in the middle of the fire shadow, that kind of power was too terrifying. As for Man Tao Yuo, she joined the spirit poison hall that he wanted to join. She majored in poison pills and secondary alchemy. Only Long Fei was in God Emperor Academy's Clutter Division. That person over there, come over here for a moment. and senior logistical disciple pointed at Long Fei and said, "Newcomer, go clean up the courtyard. Do you understand?" Many logistical disciple s around looked at Long Fei with cold smiles. Long Fei ran up eagerly and said, "As you command." Long Fei did not care about their mockery, because to him, this was just a system quest, so he had the experience. Rather than arguing with them and slapping them in the face, it would be better to finish the quest quickly and gain some experience. He was only a little bit away from breaking through to the 7th level of the psionic immortal realm. Half an hour later, you go clean up the toilet in the martial hall. Remember, don't have a single trace of stench. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the daily quest Cleaning Toilet. EXP, 100 points. Power of Celestial, 50 points. Long Fei carried his broom and flew out. Seeing those logistical disciple s made him smile. "Chief, is this newcomer stupid?" "I think it's a little. If logistical disciple is able to do this, I'm afraid only he can do it, huh? It's better if he's stupid. We have more time to rest." The disciples of the miscellaneous courtyard all laughed at him. For a few days, Long Fei cooked the most and ate the least. These few days, he had managed to get a rough understanding of the structure of the God Emperor Academy and the 18 Great Academies. The Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and White Tiger 4 matrial halls were the strongest. They also had the most disciples, and they also provided the most cultivation resources to their disciples. These disciples' inherent rankings were slightly lower than the disciples from the 4 main courtyards. However, these College of Martial Arts Training S were the support type. They existed to make the 4 main academies' disciples perform better. Other than these 10 great College of Martial Arts Training S, there were only a few third-rate College of Martial Arts Training S, and the disciples of these College of Martial Arts Training S were basically all very few. The lowest level was the miscellaneous department. He was in charge of the God Emperor Academy's hygiene and canteens every day. He was also the busiest. In addition to these, there was another location, the Martial Repository Pavilion. There were also secret manuals on the martial arts of the world, as well as some of the secret histories, wild histories, and some records on mysterious forbidden grounds and unknown domains in the Tianwu continent. The hidden martial pavilion was Long Fei's goal. He had waited for several days, but still hadn't received the task of cleaning the Martial Repository Pavilion. Early morning, a clutter elder, who was also the manager of the clutter division, Lu Ba, his body was somewhat blessed. His cultivation was at the middle stage of the arrogant immortal state, and he was once a disciple of the martial hall. He had originally left the God Emperor Academy after graduation, but for some reason, he stayed behind and even became the head supervisor of the clutter division, to manage all the random things in the God Emperor Academy. This was the first time Long Fei had seen Lu Ba in the Clutter clan. It was also the first time Lu Ba had met Long Fei. The moment he entered the courtyard, he immediately sized him up, and his gaze turned sinister as he said slightly, "You are the new disciple, Long Fei." Descendant of the Long family of the South Horizon region, the surrounding logistical disciple were all startled. Long family of the South Horizon region? What kind of family is that? Could it be the Long family from the legendary number 1 family? Isn't it dead? Not many people knew about the current Long family, but the influence that the Long family had a few million years ago was too terrifying. It left behind too many miracles. Long Fei nodded and said, "That's right." The corner of Lu Ba's mouth drew back and coldly laughed. "Long family? Hee hee, I never thought that the descendant of the Long family would actually become a lower-ranked disciple of the discarded bamboo division." His eyes were filled with contempt. Long Fei's face did not change, but he was unhappy. Lu Ba laughed coldly, then said, "I don't care if you're someone from the Long family or a pig, cat, dog, or whatever family. If you're from my place, you have to coax me. Even if it's a tiger, you have to rest. If you dare to cause trouble for me, humph, the consequences are much worse than what you imagine. Do you hear me?" Lu Ba stared at Long Fei. His eyes swept across the place once and spoke in disdain. "All of you are just trash. You must be clear about your identities. Do what you should Do what you shouldn't, touch what you shouldn't, and don't do what I shouldn't, touch what I don't deserve. Don't do it randomly. Speak whatever you want, understand? The faces of many disciples turned cold. The word trash was Lu Ba's catchphrase, and they were indeed trash. Otherwise, how would they have become logistical disciple? It was because they were useless. Long Fei suddenly asked, "Excuse me, what should I do, touch? What should I not say?" The several disciples were startled. A trace of fear could be seen in their eyes. At the same time, a few of them seemed to be waiting to see a good show. Lu Ba walked over to Long Fei's side and smiled faintly. Suddenly, the berserk immortal chi on Lu Ba's body burst out and kicked him out without giving him any time to react. Too fast. Long Fei didn't have time to react. Bam! A kick landed on his abdomen, causing him to stagger backward a few meters. His abdomen was hot and in incomparable pain. This kick was extremely vicious. Lu Ba stared at Long Fei and laughed coldly. This is the result of speaking nonsense, understand? Equals half carrot float hashtag life carrot Long Fei squinted. Lu Ba immediately said, "What? Are you unconvinced? Lame duck, you have to behave for me here. Are you not convinced? Unhappy? Mind my own business. Under my father's jurisdiction, you have to be obedient, or else I'll kill you." Chapter 18_84/2357080. Very arrogant. Very arrogant. Very arrogant. Long Fei was unhappy. Very unhappy. Lu Ba looked at Long Fei's ice-cold gaze and said coldly, "Lame duck, if you have the ability, enter College of Martial Arts training. If you don't, just lie down obediently. If you don't behave, I have plenty of ways to deal with you." Spiritual level. A piece of trash, Lu Ba said in disdain. Long Fei slowly stood up, his fists clenched tightly under his sleeves. He repeatedly warned himself in his heart, "Endure it, endure it, endure it." Furthermore, he is an arrogant, immortal state. Your current strength alone is insufficient. Level. Long Fei secretly tensed up. My level is too low. Rank was power. Long Fei was currently only a spiritual Levy 6 and was basically the weakest existence in the God Emperor Academy. Lu Ba saw that Long Fei did not speak anymore and mocked. "That's more like it." And then Lu Ba's voice was loud, and he said, "Today, the reason I'm here is for you to send a few people to clean the hidden martial pavilion, and there are some books that you need to move out to dry. Remember," Lu Ba's voice suddenly sank and said, "if you dare to flip through the hidden martial pavilion's secret skills, I'll dig out your eyes if I find out. If you dare to steal from me, I will make you regret coming to this world. Do you understand?" The hidden martial pavilion was one of the most important places in the God Emperor Academy. There were a total of 13 hidden martial pavilions. Sword skill, saber skill, palm technique, and fist technique. Divine abilities and techniques. Other than the ancient secret techniques, there were also a few divine ranked cultivation methods. Other than that, there were important historical records of them in the Sky Martial Continent. Within the entire Sky Martial Continent, there were many secret techniques of the Hidden Martial Pavilion. Long Fei was shocked. The Hidden Martial Pavilion is finally about to have the matter of the Hidden Martial Pavilion. Sea Dragon King. If I know where the Sea Dragon King is, I can find the Sea Dragon King's blood essence, and I can obtain the second stage of the Open Dragon Domain's heart. Long Fei was a little excited. This was his goal. Lu Ba said, You, and all of you go." In the end, his gaze fell on Long Fei, and Lu Ba said, "You follow along as well?" Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for coming across the Cleansing Martial Pavilion mission. Rewards: 200 experience points, 100 power of Celestial. Long Fei was excited. The disciples who were chosen didn't have any change in expression. To them, this was merely a strict cleaning mission, on the way to the Martial Repository Pavilion. Xiao Fei, in the future, you better not interrupt when Director Lu is talking, and don't ask this and that. The kick just now was considered light, an old qualified disciple said. He was rather sympathetic towards Long Fei. Long Fei nodded and said, "Thank you, senior brother." The other disciples said, "Why are you talking to him about this? After being kicked a few times, he has a good memory. You're just looking forward to someone getting beaten up, aren't you? We are all logistical disciple. We need to unite and not look down on ourselves." Thinking highly of yourself? Ha ha. Rice Bucket, you think too highly of yourself. When you enter the College of Martial Arts Training, will you be able to enter? After entering the sect for the past 2 years, he had been persevering in his cultivation. Was it even useful? You can't even beat me, and you think highly of yourself? Are we qualified to think highly of ourselves? Dajuan, don't talk like that. What is it? Am I wrong? We don't have the right to think highly of ourselves. Who gave us the chance? Who gave us cultivation resources? Other than cleaning up and serving the College of Martial Arts Training like young masters, what else can we do? He's even worse than a servant. Everyone fell silent. Indeed, they had entered the God Emperor Academy with a dream of becoming stronger and had hopes of rising above the masses. It was just like how the students in his previous life had entered the universities that they wished for. But reality? After entering, he became a servant. Not to mention cultivation, he didn't even have the slightest chance, and the temple instantly became hell. Or a hell they couldn't climb out of. One step was slow, the other step was slow, compared to the disciples who had entered the God Emperor Academy with them. The weakest of them was the arrogant, immortal state, which was already like the difference between heaven and earth. This was the difference. Long Fei went silent and did not speak. In this world, one would retreat if one did not advance. The heavens simply did not give them a chance to advance. A huge wave smashed down and completely covered their bodies, making them unable to get back up. Xiao Fei, don't listen to the great army's nonsense. Logistical disciple still has a chance. As long as we work hard, we will definitely have chance. The leader's son said. Dajuan smiled bitterly. Chief, you have already been in God Emperor Academy for 2 years. In another year, you'll be expelled. Stop lying to yourself. It's useless. Leader's son frowned. Fantong replied, Dajuan. Dajuan also felt that he overstepped his boundaries and said softly, what I said was the truth. I want to change. They all had dreams in their hearts and came to God Emperor Academy in a fit of hot-bloodedness. But what could they do? They were just a handyman that no one thought highly of. Long Fei looked at them, secretly nervous. The entire way, he fell silent. Half an hour later, passing through a small forest was a large open area. 13 pagodas of the hidden martial pavilion entered his view. The martial repository pavilion is not open today, a disciple guard said. Another disciple said, they are all disciples of the Department of Miscellaneous. They came here to clean up. The Clutter Division? Is there such a place in God Emperor Academy? They are all trash. The God Emperor Academy has to recruit some trash every year, so they can stay here to clean up. This is their supreme glory. Other people can't even enter if they wanted to, and you see how their faces are full of pride. They really take themselves seriously. Ha ha. Ha! A few disciples that were guarding the gate ridiculed him. Go in. All of you, clean your hands and feet. If anyone dares to randomly flip through, I won't forgive you. Leader's son smiled apologetically. Don't worry, senior brother, we will definitely not touch anything. And then, Long Fei and the others entered the hidden martial pavilion. The leader's son said, we will split the 13 hidden martial pavilion. Not waiting for him to finish, Dajuan said, I will be in charge of the sword arts pavilion. With that, he walked into the sword arts pavilion. Swordplay Pavilion hid 108,000 volumes of secret sword techniques. Any cultivation technique that could enter the Swordplay Pavilion was a high-grade cultivation technique, and any one of them would cause the outside world to tremble. I'll be in charge of the sabersmanship. I will be in charge. No one is in charge of the Secret History Pavilion. Long Fei looked at the leader's son and said, Senior brother, I will be in charge of the Secret History Pavilion. The leader's son said, the Secret History Pavilion has the most books, and the time it takes to read is also the longest. You must gently put it aside. In. Long Fei nodded his head, his heart already racing. He walked towards the secret history pavilion, looking at the Linglong treasure pagoda that was filled with all kinds of ancient books. Could the clues from the dragon domain be hidden inside? Long Fei's heart was boiling. Equals semi/floating life plus outer space palace. The corner of the supreme god's mouth curled up slightly. Looking at Long Fei in the virtual mirror, he laughed. You indeed entered the secret history pavilion and made the same choice as Long Zhanning back then. Long Fei, you better not disappoint me. Chapter 2. First 2 chapters in the morning. There's still an update for today. It will be delivered by tonight. 8_8419/2357081. Back then, the first thing Long Zhanting did after entering the God Emperor Academy was to enter the hidden Martial Pavilion's secret history pavilion. Back then, the first thing Long Zhanting did after entering the God Emperor Academy was to enter the hidden Martial Pavilion's secret history pavilion. He flipped through all the ancient books in the secret history pavilion. He had looked through all the records of the Long family regarding the dragon race. What did he see? Other than him, no one else knew. However, that time, Long Zhanting had almost found the dragon domain. Supreme God looked at Long Fei, who was reflected in the mirror, filled with anticipation. Kid, what can you discover? He had sent people to carefully read the hundreds of thousands of ancient books in the secret history pavilion, but they were unable to find anything. In his opinion, perhaps only the people from the Long family could find the secret within. Long Fei entered the mysterious history pavilion and was shocked by the scene in front of him. Damn, is this still a soul treasure? From the outside, it looked like a 7-level pagoda. It wasn't too big, but after entering, the space was extremely huge. The spiral bookshelves snaked upwards like a coiled dragon. Is there a secret of the dragon domain inside? Long Fei exhaled, walked to the bookshelves, and started to read. Savage Immortal Sect's Secret History, Heavenly Empire's Secret History, Sky Martial Continent's Wild History. There were all sorts of books, some made up, some true. Many of them were ancient texts from tens of thousands of years ago. The more time it took for an ancient text to appear on it, the older it would be. After searching for an entire hour, he was unable to find any records regarding the dragon domain or the Long family. Long Fei stepped onto the second floor. He continued to search. The history of this level was about 300,000 to 1 million years, which was not comparable to the number of books on the first level. The longer it was, the easier it was to lose it. On this level, Long Fei still did not find any information regarding the Long family or dragon domain. He stepped onto the third floor, the fourth stratum, the fifth stratum. An entire 4 hours passed by, but Long Fei still did not find any records regarding the Long family's calamity, nor any records about the dragon region. Could Senior he be lying to me? Long Fei muttered in his heart. Probably not. He has no reason to lie to me. Long Fei did not look at them one by one. As long as there was the word dragon, he would read it. Every time he picked it up, he would be very excited, but after reading a few books, he would be very disappointed. There are 2 more layers. Long Fei stepped onto the tower and entered the 6th floor. What was different from the previous floors was that the 6th room was extremely small. Every step was filled with a thin layer of power of celestial. This is a protective function. The ancient records of the 6th level dated back to 2 million years ago. It had been far too long. Long Fei picked up a book to flip through. Wong. The power of celestial in the ancient book slightly flicked, directly blowing away his idea. Long Fei exclaimed, "What's going on?" At this moment, a woman's voice could be heard. You can't even read the books here. A girl wearing a black veil. And also from the demon girl that Long Fei met in God's Phoenix Pavilion. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Kunlun mirror within the space ring started to tremble intensely. The girl in black robes in front of him was a demon. There was a devil hidden within her body. Moreover, an extremely powerful devil. Otherwise, the Kunlun mirror wouldn't have been jumping so fiercely. Long Fei looked at the veiled girl and asked, "Why?" The veiled girl said with a faint smile, because your cultivation has not reached the level of reading ancient books. Simply put, you're too weak. The girl said the last few words very heavily, and in her hands, she was flipping through an ancient book, on the cover of which was written the ranking of experts in the Tianwu continent. When she was reading, she did not even need to use her hands to flip through the pages. After reading a page, she started to flip through automatically, probably under the control of the idea. When they were in God's Phoenix Pavilion, Long Fei had already felt that she was extremely dangerous. Now, Long Fei still felt that she was in danger. The demons in her body seemed to rush out at any moment to swallow him up. Looking at the ranking list in the girl's hands, Long Fei wanted to know if there was anyone from the Long family inside. According to the history of this level, it was when the Long family was in its best condition. After hesitating for a moment, without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the girl looked at him with her black eyes and said, "Do you want to know what is recorded inside?" Long Fei did not hesitate and said, "I want to know if there are any records about the Long family warriors." The veiled girl smiled. "I won't tell you." "Air." Long Fei was startled. He then picked up another book. The idea moved and started to react. Without waiting for the idea to enter the ancient books, it immediately popped out. Yin Huang Ancestor said, "Just like what that witch said, your cultivation is too low to reach the level of flipping through these kinds of books." F***CK. "Ancestor, this is a bit too much, isn't it?" Long Fei muttered. The girl in black in front of him was younger than him, but she could easily control it. It was too humiliating. Yin Huang Ancestor said, "There's no other way." "Who asked you to be weak?" Long Fei raised his middle finger towards Yin Huang Ancestor. "Level is level, just like not being able to cross it. If you don't break through, you won't be able to obtain strength corresponding to your level." What was the realm of the witch? Long Fei could not tell that Yin Huang Ancestor was not coming out either. The only thing he knew was that she was very strong, very strong, very strong like that. Long Fei looked around the 6th floor. Other than the young girl who was looking through the ranking list with relish, there were no other books that recorded Long Family S. He walked straight up to the 7th floor. The veiled girl said, "You can't go." Yin Huang Ancestor sensed for a bit and said, "You really can't go up." Long Fei did not believe it. He took a step forward, and just as he stepped onto the first step, his body trembled, as if a gigantic mountain was crushing down. Buzz! His body was pushed back violently by a powerful force. The veiled girl laughed. "I told you you can't go. You're too weak." Yin Huang Ancestor said, "She is right. You are too weak." "Ancestor, which side are you on?" "They attacked me, and you attacked me? Do you still want to stay in this place anymore?" Long Fei said in his heart. Yin Huang Ancestor said, "I am only speaking the truth. You really cannot go up, and what she said is right. You are too weak. At least 100 of you are not a match for the witch in front of you." Long Fei was unwilling to accept this. He rushed forward once again. Buzz! After being forced back again, his mind and consciousness began to churn. "I don't believe it." Long Fei clenched his teeth and forcefully rushed up. The moment he stepped onto the 2nd step, rumble! The massive wave came crashing down, sending him flying backwards. Baidu's sister-in-law, AA half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system, I really don't believe it. This was a boundary. Only those who had reached a certain level could freely enter. At this time, the veiled lady kept her ranking list, walked to the side of the 7th floor, and looked at Long Fei. "Hold my hand. I will lead you up." Chapter 38_8419/23570082. Her hands were covered with black silk gloves. Her hands were covered with black silk gloves. Just like the material of the black cloth on her face, one could faintly see her hands that were as white as jade. Yin Huang Ancestor laughed excitedly. "Brat, your luck is here. I can guarantee that this woman will be devastatingly beautiful." "She will not be beautiful at all." "What are you waiting for? Why don't you hurry up and hold her hand? Do you still want to enter the 7th floor? The Yin Huang Ancestor urged. Long Fei disdainfully replied, The emperor is not in a hurry. The overseer. Yin Huang ancestor refuted. Brat, if you have the guts, don't hold her hand. While the ancestor was speaking, Long Fei looked at the veiled girl and said, It's just holding hands. You won't do anything else to me, right? I'm still a virgin. The veiled girl snorted. Don't worry, I won't eat you. Long Fei pretended to be disappointed. Sigh, I was hoping you would eat me. He extended his hand out, and the veiled girl grabbed onto his hand. She was very proactive, and at this moment, Long Fei felt a hint of coldness. The girl's hand was very cold, like the hand of a dead man. At the same time, a strange power rushed into his mind. Boom, boom. The Golden Dragon Master who was protecting his mind and the Golden Dragon Master who was protecting his sea of consciousness instantly devoured this bizarre power. The veiled girl did not hide her shock. You really do have the pressure of a dragon in your body. It seems like the Long family and the dragon race really do have a close relationship. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the veiled lady directly pulled Long Fei up the stairs. He didn't know why. Initially, Long Fei had felt the pressure of the enormous mountain and felt the impact of the enormous waves. But as he held the girl's hand, he was completely unable to sense the powerful impacts. This was only secondary. What Long Fei cared about was her words, What is the relationship between the Long family and the dragon race? The veiled girl did not answer. A few seconds later, her hand relaxed as she said lightly, We've reached the 7th floor. Mysterious History Pavilion 7th level. The space here was even narrower, so narrow that only one person could fit inside. Long Fei's and the veiled girl's bodies were almost touching, and they could both hear each other's heartbeats. The distance between the two was only a few centimeters. At such a close distance, the black veiled girl was just as the ancestor had said, a devastatingly beautiful woman. A little more. Her pupils were light blue, and as deep as a sapphire. It was the first time that the veiled girl had been so close to someone of the opposite sex. Her heart slightly tightened and her breathing quickened. Although her cultivation was strong, she was still an 18-year-old young girl. A young girl who had just developed love. The veiled girl coughed. You better not let your imagination run wild, or you will die here. She was not joking at all. As long as Long Fei dared to move, she would really kill him. Long Fei forced himself to calm down and said while looking around, Why aren't there any books? The 7th floor is actually an empty place with the protection of the boundary. Why is that? The veiled girl looked at Long Fei as he grabbed his finger. With a swipe of his dagger, a drop of blood dripped down from Long Fei's finger. Long Fei did not have the time to think about it, nor did he have the slightest reaction. The girl's speed was just too fast. If it had been his neck instead of his fingers, he would be dead now. The idea in Long Fei's heart moved and asked, Ancestor, did you see it clearly? Yin Huang Ancestor shook his head. It's too fast. It seems like this which is much stronger than I imagined. Long Fei lowered the center of his brows, looked at the girl, and asked, Why did you use my blood? Blood essence dripped onto the ground. A blood-red wave of light covered the entire 7th floor, and soon the space was filled with all sorts of incomplete pieces of ancient paper and some portraits. The strangest thing was that there was also a dragon's universe map, a ferocious dragon head. It was vivid and lifelike. There were 2 words written on the map, Yuan Long. It was only 2 words that Long Fei could understand, but he had never seen all the words on other pieces of paper that were still floating in the air. Just like a gobbledygook. The veiled girl looked at the dragon's universe map with her blue eyes and muttered, As expected, do you know why you used your blood? Because your blood has millions of years of history, or even longer. The 7th floor space has a history of 5 million years. At that time, your Long family had not appeared yet. At that time, the veiled girl slowly said, It's the dragon clan's hegemon. Whoever's blood drips down will be able to summon the historical records based on the time the blood was passed down. The space of the 7th floor seemed very small, but the amount of books here was much greater than the first 6 floors combined. Here, there were all sorts of mysterious histories from 5 million years ago. After the veiled girl finished speaking, she muttered to herself in a low voice, "Negative activation to dragon blood is indeed a cover. If he really did not have the slightest bit of dragon blood activation, how could he have summoned so many secret records?" The most important point: none of the secrets that Long Fei had summoned with his blood essence were about the Long family. They were all from the dragon race. The language of the dragon race. A foreign language. Long Fei did not understand. The veiled lady did not understand. Even the Yin Huang ancestor from Chaos Realm did not understand. They were completely confused. Long Fei immediately said in his heart, "Azure Dragon Ancestor, come out right now. Gold Dragon, Blood Dragon, Black Dragon, all of you come out right now. What exactly is recorded in this history?" No one responded. The Azure Dragon, Golden Dragon, Blood Dragon, and Black Dragon didn't respond. They were all silent. This was because it recorded the things they were unable to face, and it was filled with incomparable pain. After a long time, the Azure Dragon Ancestor slightly said, "Don't ask any more questions. We won't say anything until you find the dragon domain. Long Fei, you really want to become stronger. I really have to get stronger. It's almost too late. A new calamity is about to befall you. Hurry up and become strong. This is the only way for you to solve all the mysteries." The Azure Dragon Ancestor spoke very seriously. Long Fei didn't understand at all. What new calamity? Tell me, what is it? What is the dragon clan hiding? Just who am I? Why is my blood unable to summon the secret history of the dragon clan? And why is my blood unable to summon the secret history of the Long family? Who the hell am I? Long Fei felt lost. He was someone of the Long family, and had always been so. However, the secret history of the Long family did not record anything, and the blood could not lie. So who exactly was he? Someone from a Long family? Or were they from the dragon race? Suddenly, Long Fei was furious in his heart. He suddenly roared out, "I am me. I am Long Fei." Boom! A stream of power burst out. The veiled young lady's face darkened. A powerful force crushed Long Fei's power and shouted, "Are you crazy? Equals half carrot float hashtag life carrot. You'll destroy these things." Long Fei shouted, "If it's destroyed, then so be it. I will not understand." The veiled girl looked at the Dragon Universe map and said, "There are some words I can't understand, but this map might be the map to the dragon domain." Chapter 4. Today, there were 4 chapters. A chapter was owed. A total of 4 chapters were owed, and they were recorded in a small notebook. 8_8419/2357083. Before she could finish her sentence, the girl took out a pen and a paper and started drawing. Before she could finish her sentence, the girl took out a pen and a paper and started drawing. Soon, her drawing technique and speed were very fast and completely the same. She couldn't find any flaws. It was as if she had copied it onto a sticky paste. Long Fei looked at the Dragon Universe map and thought to himself, "Is this the Dragon Domain map?" The green dragon did not answer. The blood dragon did not reply. However, his intuition told him that this map was not a map leading to the Dragon Domain, but it definitely had something to do with the Dragon Clan. Dragon Universe? Dragon? Yuan Long. Long Fei thought about it carefully in his mind. Suddenly, his eyes trembled. Dragon also means dragon head. Damn, could it be the Yuan Long's dragon head? They say that I'm a Yuan Long, then is that my head? Long Fei's heart trembled. Azure Dragon, you mean trying to slowly awaken the power in my body? How exactly are you trying to do so? The green dragon still did not reply. Long Fei muttered to himself, "Don't tell me you want me to find Yuan Long's corpse and then fuse it bit by bit? This is to awaken my power, right?" There was still no answer in his body. Long Fei continued to speak alone. "If that's the case, then am I really a dragon? That's not right. I am me. I am Long Fei." Long Fei immediately denied that he was himself. Not just anyone. He was the playboy that had lived on Earth for more than 20 years. He is a transcender. Long Fei reminded himself time and time again. It was impossible for him to be some yuan long. However, Long Fei's heart darkened. I need power. I need great power. If I can become the patriarch, if the 10,000 dragons of the dragon race listen to my orders, the Long family will definitely rise. Who in the sky martial continent dares to be arrogant? Kill them all. What's the matter with you? The veiled girl stopped writing. She had already copied the dragon's universe map, and looking at Long Fei, whose eyes flickered, suddenly went silent, and suddenly became excited. You entered here, and it's a little abnormal. Did you discover something? Long Fei shook his head. No, it knows me with these words. I don't know it. Why would I find anything? The veiled girl did not have much time to think about it. She dragged Long Fei and left the 7th floor, saying, It's almost time. Hurry up and go down. The boundary had a time limit. Once someone discovered him, things would be bad. The 7th floor of the Secret History Pavilion was an absolute secret realm. Unless it was the Great Dean, no one was allowed to enter. Buzz! Long Fei was pulled out from the 7th floor by the veiled girl. The two of them still held hands. Her hands were still as cold as ice. She tried again, and this time, her idea was still destroyed by the golden dragon. The veiled lady released her hand, looked at the Dragon Universe map, and faintly smiled at Long Fei. See you next time. Right. There are no records of Long family warriors in that heavenly martial ranking list. The next few pages were torn apart by someone because they did not want others to see anything. The veiled girl walked to the window, looked at Long Fei, and said, I recommend that you look for a book. It's called Ancient Family Ranking on the 1st floor. As soon as he finished, the veiled girl floated away like a breeze. The Kunlun mirror of Long Fei's space ring also stopped jumping. What are you doing? It's been so long, and you haven't done anything. What on earth is your logistical disciple cooking? A disciple who was officially guarding the Secret History Pavilion walked in. Seeing Long Fei standing on the 6th floor, his eyebrows moved, and he immediately shouted, Get down here. Another disciple said, What's there to be afraid of? His cultivation level is simply unable to open the 6th level of the ancient books. True. I almost forgot that. Hurry up and clean up. You still have an hour. If you're not done, I'll show you. The Secret History Pavilion was different from the other martial repositories. The treasures here were all historical records and did not contain any martial arts manuals, so the guards were not that strict. The two gatekeeping disciples urged him a few times, then walked out. Long Fei also quickly ran down from the 1st floor and found the book called Ancient Family Ranking by the Veiled Girl. The rankings of the aristocratic families in the Tianwu continent. First place, sky-separating clan, Pan clan. Long Fei's heart quivered, and he thought, seems like the Pan family is really an ancient family. Second place, Xinyuan clan, Xinyuan family. Third place, Black-Yellow tribe. These families used to be the top families in the Sky Martial Continent, and their power was even stronger than the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Long Fei kept flipping through the pages until he reached the last page. He was a little stunned by the description, Waka-ka. These 100 ancient family-s were all stepped on by the Long family. The heck? Just how strong is the Long family? That's not right. Long Fei thought about it and suddenly thought of another problem. Millions of years ago, the Long family crushed all of these powerful families, but they were not able to get rid of the roots. If all of these families are still there, it would be the same as the Pan clan. His body sank. Long Fei looked up into the sky and muttered, Master, are you trying to trick me? If the Pan family could not deal with him, then how could they survive if there were 100 of them? Isn't that too much? The current Long family's strength couldn't even be compared to a third-rate family in the immortal domain. If they were to fight, Long family was dead for sure. Right now, was unable to breathe because of the Pan clan. This was only because of the protection of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Otherwise, it would be hard for him to stay alive. If there were a few more level families, there would be no need for them to continue messing around. There's only one way to not lose: become stronger. Long Fei secretly clenched his fists. Phew, I have to think of a way to level up. It's not enough to do some daily quests. I have to go out and kill monsters to level up. Long Fei started to clean up with a broom. His mind was also frantically trying to level up. The God Emperor Academy did not kill them. If you want to level up, you can only go outside. But how? In God Emperor Academy, logistical disciple did not have the qualifications to go down the mountain. Even if you were an official disciple, if you didn't have a mission, you would need the permission of the dean to go down mountain. Down the mountain. Mission. In this period of time, Long Fei understood a lot. If you want to go down a mountain, you must have a mission, but God Emperor Academy's missions all have levels. If you don't have strength, you can't accept it. Team. I need a team, a strong team that can accept missions. One of the strong warriors in the team could accept the mission. As long as he could sneak into the team, he would be able to follow them down the mountain. However, Long Fei left her a bit. His identity. Which team would want a logistical disciple? Unless he was pretty much blind. 36. Search. Half floating // equals. If it wasn't logistical disciple, things would be much easier. Take off your clothes. This is bullying. There was a commotion from outside. Chapter 18_8419/2357085. His identity was very important. His identity was very important. In the God Emperor Academy, his identity was even more important. I suspect you of stealing the sword technique. Take off your clothes and check. One of the disciples looked at Fan Tong with disdain. Why are you not helping this daddy out? Fan Tong was very angry, but he did not dare make a move and said, Senior brother, I really did not steal. I swear to the heavens. The disciple laughed. Swear? What's the use of a vow? Hurry up and take off your clothes. Otherwise, I will arrest you for stealing a secret manual. You know very well what the consequences will be. Kill them all, throw them into the back mountains, and feed them to the dogs. Another disciple mocked him with a face full of mockery. Brat, do whatever we tell you to do. Don't bring trouble upon yourself. At this time, leader's son, the army, and a few other logistical disciple all ran up. The leader's son said, To Senior Brother S. He is an honest and straightforward person. He would definitely not steal anything. I hope the 2 Senior Brother S can do it. Stealing a secret skill? Unless they really wanted to die. The secret skills in the Martial Repository Pavilion could not be brought out and could only be flipped through and could not be brought out. There was a kind of boundary restriction inside. Every single secret art was recorded in the library of Heaven's Path. Without permission, it was impossible to bring it out. These 2 disciples were looking for trouble. In their opinion, these were merely logistical disciple, the lowest level existence in God Emperor Academy, and the target of their ridicule. F***CK. Who are you? If you say he doesn't know how to steal, then he doesn't know how to steal. A disciple kicked Leader Sun in the abdomen. The kick was very heavy and directly sent Leader Sun flying. Leader Sun spat out a mouthful of blood. Ignoring the pain, he said, Senior brother, Martial Repository Pavilion is restricted by the boundary. The level 9 spirit immortal disciple is unable to bring out a secret technique. Can you? Bam! He kicked Leader Sun right in the face. His body moved, stepping on Leader Sun's face, saying with contempt, I suspect that he had stolen the secret skill. If he did not take off his clothes for inspection, today I will make it so that you all will not be able to eat anymore. It was obvious that he didn't want anything to happen, but he insisted on making things difficult for her. And it was to strip naked in front of the crowd. This was not making things difficult. It was just an obvious humiliation. Many of the service disciples did not dare to make a sound. In God Emperor Academy, their position was not even comparable to a dog. Even though the Academy clearly forbade bullying, but this was only an order. In this place, you are weak and your status is low. In that case, you are destined to be bullied. Fan Tong knelt on the ground and said, Senior brother, I really didn't steal it. That disciple said, Who can testify? Even if you didn't steal it, I suspect that you have some sort of secret manual. This is also stealing. Fan Tong said anxiously, I didn't read it either. I didn't flip through it, right? Just try 2 moves and you'll know. One of the disciples revealed a playful sneer. Without waiting for Fantong to stand up, he kicked it. His cultivation was at the arrogant, immortal state, an existence which had completely suppressed Fantong. Fantong didn't even dare to attack him, and had been kicked away instantly. Not even that. The disciple took a step forward, and without waiting for Fantong's body to land on the ground, he kicked in the air, flying out explosively. With a kick, Fantong flew tens of meters away. Fantong was lying on the ground, blood spewing out of his mouth, his face pale white. He said, "I did not steal, I really did not steal." "Ha ha! Senior brother, your kicks are not bad," that disciple said while laughing, and did not care about Fantong's life or death at all. "Didn't I say I could do a series of kicks?" In fact, these service disciples are pretty good practice punching bags. The senior brother laughed. That junior brother said, "I also want to practice." He glared at one of the service disciples and said, "Come here." That service disciple suddenly shrunk and said, "Senior brother, let me go." That junior martial brother laughed. "I suspect that you are stealing a secret skill. Either you take off your clothes and inspect them, or I will try 2 moves of yours. Otherwise, I will report the matter of you stealing a secret skill." His eyes were filled with contempt. Looking at these service disciples was like looking at a dead dog. They can do whatever they want. They were playing around with him in the middle of the applause. Because they were official disciples, because their identities were different. Leader Sun and the others were service disciples, targets that anyone could bully. The service disciple immediately said, "I will take off my clothes, I will take off my clothes." While they were talking, he immediately took off all his clothes and said, "Senior brother, I didn't steal it. I really didn't steal it." His eyes were filled with incomparable fear. This was not the first time such a thing had happened. His body was already full of wounds, and he could no longer bear the pain of being beaten up. Taking off his clothes and getting beaten up, he chose the former. Here, he had no self-respect whatsoever. The corner of the junior brother's mouth turned cold, and he shouted, "Do you think that you can be fine after taking off your clothes? I suspect you of flipping through the manual." Both fists moved as a shadow of a beast shot out from the 2 fists and attacked the target. Bang, bang. 2 deep sounds rang out. The naked disciple spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out as well. The other service disciples did not dare to show any trace of anger in their eyes. All of them lowered their heads, not daring to resist. The consequences of resisting were even worse. The injuries would be even worse. Moreover, no one would stand up for them, and no one would believe their words. "Ha ha ha! Junior brother, your tiger crane double fist cultivation is not bad." Senior brother smiled. The destructive power earlier reached at least the 3-star realm. The junior brother laughed. "I would still need to thank senior brother for his pointers. If not, how could I have progressed so quickly?" Ha 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 ha. The 2 of them laughed. Leader Sun crawled up from the ground, his face full of respect, as he said, "To senior brother S, today's cleaning has been completed. Can we leave now?" "Leave? Sun Datu, among all you trash, your cultivation is the strongest, right?" The senior brother's eyes turned cold as he stared at him and started laughing. The leader's son frowned and said, "I am also just at the 9th stage of the spirit immortal realm and cannot compare to the 2 senior brother S." The man from the senior brother shouted, "Stop flattering me. Come fight with me today. If you can take 10 moves from me, I'll let you guys go. If you can't, all of you trash will have to strip naked and crawl out from here." 10 moves wasn't much. However, he was at the 2nd level of the wild immortal stage, and he cultivated the martial repository pavilion's cultivation technique. And the Sun Datu? Table of contents, he was just a service disciple. Ever since he entered the God Emperor Academy, he had not been taught any skills by any teachers, nor had he ever practiced any skills from the God Emperor Academy. It was impossible for him to withstand 10 moves. 10 moves, right? I'll do it. Chapter 28_8419/2357087. A voice rang out. A voice rang out. A person stood outside the mysterious history pavilion. Long Fei. Everyone looked over and stared at the skinny Long Fei. Sundata looked at Long Fei and said, "He's a newcomer. He doesn't understand the rules. Senior brother, let me take 10 of your moves." The supposed 10 moves didn't involve two people fighting 10 moves. But you can't fight back. You can only passively take a beating and get hit by him for 10 moves. Senior brother's gaze turned cold as he laughed in disdain. There really are people who aren't afraid of death these days. With that, he walked up. Sundata said, "Senior brother, he still doesn't know the rules. I'll take it. I'll take 10 moves from you." Bam! The man kicked Sundata out and shouted, "Scram!" As he spoke, he had already walked to Long Fei's side and sneered. "You want to take 10 of my moves, right?" Sundatu crawled up from the ground while ignoring the pain and shook his head towards Long Fei. No, no, no. The eyes of those service disciples were somewhat empty. Sundatu rushed to Long Fei's side and said, "To Senior Brother S, he is only a spiritual Levy 6. He is no match for you. I am a 9th stage Immortal Peak realm. As long as you give me the 3-rate fairy vein, I can break through it." That junior brother walked forward, looked at Sundatu, and said, "I told you to scram to the side. Scram to the side for this, father. Don't F*** King Court Death." Senior brother said, "Sundatu, don't be in such a hurry. I'll look for you after I fight with him. Don't worry. I will give you a chance." Long Fei said, "Stop wasting time. Hurry up." Sundata held on to Long Fei tightly and said, "Xiao Fei." The disciple glared at him. "You're in a hurry to be reincarnated, right? Then get down." His voice suddenly erupted. At the same time, he kicked Xiang Longfei, causing the power of the arrogant immortal state to shoot out, a powerful gust of wind pouncing towards Xiang Longfei. Very quickly, it was very strong. His strength was as heavy as his physical strength. Long Fei's eyes turned cold, and in his heart he shouted, "Rank 5, unparalleled." The moment the senior brother struck out, Long Fei's figure moved. He immediately threw out a punch, smashing straight towards the senior brother's kneecap. Too fast. It was so fast that it was dazzling, causing one's vision to be unable to keep up. Crack! Ah! With a bone-cracking sound, a howling sound similar to that of a pig being butchered rang out. In an instant, the senior brother knelt down while hugging his knees. Long Fei took a step forward, bent his right leg, and ferociously charged the kneecap, striking the senior brother's lower jaw. Crack! Another bone-cracking sound. The senior brother was struck and sent flying into the air. Long Fei's right leg descended. He stood still, and his left leg fiercely kicked in the air. Whoosh! Kacha, kacha, kacha. Numerous bone-cracking sounds resounded from the senior brother's waist as his entire body flew out. He flew out more than 10 meters and laid on the ground, unmoving like a dead dog. Everyone's scalp was numb. Is he crazy? He actually dares to attack the senior brother? What is the background of this kid? Oh my God, such a fast speed, such a fierce power. How was it possible for the spiritual Levy 6 to instantly kill a 2nd stage Berserker Immortal? Everyone was thinking about this in their minds, their expressions one of extreme shock. It was a full 10 seconds before they could react. Long Fei clapped his hands and said disdainfully, 10 moves? To turn into a dead dog in 3 moves, 10 moves more. How boring. He didn't see the frightened expressions of the service disciples at all, from the initial shock to the present terror, because Long Fei had beaten up an official disciple. If this matter was reported, then Long Fei's fate would be very, very miserable. Besides 18 great matrial halls, there was also the existence of a special institution, law enforcement agency. They were in charge of the punishment for the God Emperor Academy. Once they were brought into the law enforcement agency, even taking off a layer of skin would be considered light. These 3 moves by Long Fei just now would have very possibly caused him to die in the law enforcement agency's dungeon. Sun Datu immediately pulled Long Fei back and said, "You're crazy. He's an official disciple after all." Dajun cursed angrily. "Brat, are you trying to kill us? Do you know what happens when you hit him? You want to kill us all. It's over, it's all over." We're completely finished. Even if you become a service disciple in the God Emperor Academy, you are at least a service disciple in the God Emperor Academy. If today's matter were to be reported to the forget about a service disciple, being able to live would be considered a blessing of 8 lifetimes. The junior brother stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you're dead for sure." Long Fei's eyes were gloomy. He stared at the junior brother and said, "You also want to exchange 3 moves?" After Sun Dado heard this, his entire body trembled, and he almost kneeled down towards Long Fei. He hugged Long Fei and said, "My little ancestor, please don't cause any more trouble." Those service disciples all begged Long Fei not to be rash. Long Fei was puzzled. Seeing them act this way, he did not understand, so he asked, "If they all bully you like this, why didn't they retaliate? What are you afraid of?" "What are you afraid of?" Sun Dada said. "Status. What identity do we have, and what identity do they have? Any one of the official disciples can easily pinch us to death. If we attack them, we will be offending them from the bottom. The consequences will be very serious." That junior brother was rather frightened of Long Fei, but after hearing what Sun Dada said, he immediately became arrogant and said, "Brat, I will definitely report what happened today. Just you guys wait." Not waiting for him to finish. "This old man will not allow anyone to act arrogantly in front of me." Long Fei's figure moved, and he suddenly made his move. His fist directly struck that junior brother's abdomen. A mouthful of blood spurted out. His body was sent flying backwards. Without waiting for him to stand firm, Long Fei's figure had already landed behind him. She grabbed his neck and threw him forward heavily, falling from the sky. After smashing on the ground, Long Fei stepped on it. "Give this daddy another try." Sun Dada stepped forward. He was almost unable to stand up. The other service disciples did the same. Their hearts had already collapsed. It's over, it's all over. If there was a chance of survival at the start, then it's all over now. This person is a madman. Long Fei stepped on that disciple's face and said, "You're still arrogant. Official disciple? Is an official disciple that amazing?" That disciple's eyes trembled. He was scared, but his mouth was very firm. "Brat, you're dead for sure. Today, you're dead for sure. What is your identity? You are only a service disciple. In God Emperor Academy, you are not even comparable to a dog. Just you wait." Long Fei was enraged. What the F **********? Killing intent rose in his heart. Long Fei fiercely chopped down with his leg. Sun Dada threw himself at Long Fei and said, "We can't kill him. We can't kill him. We can't." In another place, in front of the entrance of the Martial Repository Pavilion compound, Lu Ba angrily rushed over with a few disciples. That disciple also laughed. "Brat, if you have the guts, then kill me." "Kill me, huh? Even if I give you 100 times the courage, you still won't dare? Ha!" Very arrogant, very proud. Long Fei was angry. Chapter 3. There should be 2 more chapters for today's update. 8_8419/2357089. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.